The day I was finally heading home, my plane literally exploded in midair. I had just managed to strap on a parachute when a woman, looking as fragile as a porcelain doll, suddenly rushed right at me. Out of nowhere, she violently ripped off my parachute pack. I roared at her, furiously demanding an explanation. But before I could even get the words out, she slammed her body against mine and forced her soft lips right onto my mouth. Damn it! I had been with my girlfriend for 7 whole years and never even gotten a taste of her lipstick. Yet this absolute stranger? She was kissing me like she wanted to swallow me alive. Holy crap, where do you think you're touching? Just because you're drop-dead gorgeous, you think you can just do whatever you want to me? I was furious, but just as I was about to aggressively shove her away, a few massive, burly men stomped over. She's not over here, one of them growled. Without a parachute, she definitely wouldn't dare to just blindly jump. Besides, she's severely wounded. She must be hiding somewhere in the crowd. Let's keep looking. I watched the thugs walk away aggressively, my heart pounding in sheer panic. But just then, another group of dangerous-looking people approached. I quickly noticed that every single one of them had a hand tucked suspiciously inside their jackets. That posture. Could they be packing heat? Guns? Suddenly, a pair of fierce, menacing eyes locked dead onto me. The man scoffed, clearly thinking we were just some tragic couple facing a life-or-death parting. To him, we were zero threat. Thank God the parachute blocked the woman's back, perfectly concealing her identity. The goon just muttered, "She must have hidden somewhere else. If we screw this up, the higher-ups will never let us off the hook. Looks like we need to step it up. Yeah, we can't let the Black Dragon Syndicate find her first." Listening to their terrifying conversation, I couldn't help but think, the passengers on this flight are way too bizarre. Literally everyone is hunting for someone, and meanwhile, this mysterious woman is still completely taking advantage of me. Frustrated that she was still violently invading my personal space, I raised my hands to firmly shove her off, but she quickly reached out, grabbed my wrists, and forcefully guided my hands right onto her waist. "Hey! Who even are you?" I hissed. "Get off me. The plane is about to crash. Did you hear me?" Suddenly, the syndicate boss stopped dead in his tracks. He slowly turned around to look at me. "Boss, we don't have much time. We need to get out of here right now," a henchman yelled. "What are you looking at?" Following his boss's cold gaze, the henchman looked straight over at me. That's when my blood ran cold. I realized their eyes weren't on me at all, but on the mysterious woman clinging to my chest. Oh crap! We caught their attention. Without missing a beat, the man they called boss whipped a heavy pistol from his pocket and instantly pulled the trigger. Moving like lightning, the woman tossed a blanket right at their faces with a backhand throw, grabbed me tight, and leaped straight out of the flaming plane. Her speed was absolutely jaw-dropping. The parachute bloomed beautifully in the sky, and we instantly floated into midair, keeping a modest, safe distance from the blazing aircraft. "It's her! She's escaping! Open fire!" Bang, bang, bang. The deafening gunfire echoed sharply through the open air. Seeing our parachute drift further and further out of reach, the furious boss roared in sheer, absolute frustration. Not giving up, his violent men quickly strapped on their own parachutes and dove right out after us. I never in a million years imagined that I would be dragged into this deadly mess for absolutely no reason. What on earth is this crazy woman's identity? To think she is actively being hunted down by rival, bloodthirsty gangs. Where the hell did she even come from? Just as I was about to aggressively question her, I noticed her eyelids fluttering shut. The hands gripping my waist went totally limp, letting go as she completely passed out in my arms. "Hey, don't fall asleep on me now. Wake up." Scared completely out of my mind, I held on to her even tighter so she wouldn't fall. "Did you pass out from the sheer fear? Hey, oh, crap." The stray gunfire from earlier must have torn through the parachute, and this woman was already out cold. I prayed desperately in my head. "Oh God, please, no. Are we really going to crash and die right here?" Right below us was nothing but the vast, terrifyingly open ocean. I silently begged for the torn parachute to hold out just a little bit longer. I don't want to lose my life. I really don't want to kick the bucket here so damn soon, ending my life in such a ridiculous, pathetic way. This is not how I want my story to end. But the damaged parachute was plummeting downward at an extreme, terrifying speed. In my 20-odd years of life, I never realized I could be this incredibly unlucky. Absolutely everything went wrong for me today. Before I could even think any further. Splash! The two of us slammed violently into the freezing ocean, sending up a massive, crashing spray of water. Caught totally off guard by the impact, I swallowed a few desperate mouthfuls of salty water before finally breaking the surface. I gasped painfully for air, coughing up the sea. Thank goodness I actually know how to swim. Otherwise, I really would have bit the dust today. After frantically thrashing around for a bit, I finally managed to catch my breath and calm down. But then I froze. A large, horrifying pool of blood was already spreading across the water's surface, looking as if someone had spilled a giant jar of crimson dye. Wave after wave of shocking red rippled through the ocean. What the hell is going on? Where did all this blood come from? I frantically scanned the area, but the woman was nowhere to be seen. Oh no. Those thugs earlier literally said she was severely injured. Could all this blood be hers? This woman is definitely nothing but bad news. There is absolutely no telling when those armed psychos will catch up to us. If I get involved in this mess any further, I am definitely going to be in incredibly deep trouble. But if I abandon her now, she's dead meat. She'll drown for sure. The impossible choice was tearing my conscience to pieces. Screw it. I squeezed my eyes shut, cursed my own stupidity, and dove straight back into the freezing waves. I quickly spotted her sinking figure through the murky water and pushed myself toward her. Burning every last ounce of my strength, I dragged her dead weight onto the shore. I had absolutely no clue where the hell we were. Judging by the ragged fishing nets strung up outside the little houses, we had washed up in some remote fishing village. My eyes immediately locked onto the closest shack. It was my best shot at getting help fast, so I made a break for it. "I'll be right back to save you," I panted, dropping her limp body onto the sand. I honestly didn't care if she could hear me or not. I sprinted up to the house alone and pounded on the door. "Hello? Is anybody home? I really need some help. Hello? Please, open up!" After a few agonizing seconds, the heavy wooden door finally creaked open, revealing the sweet, wrinkled face of an old lady. She blinked at my drenched, desperate state in total shock. "Who on earth are you?" "Ma'am, please! Our plane just crashed, and this woman fell into the ocean. She's bleeding out. Can you please help us?" She gasped, her eyes darting past me to the unmoving body on the beach. "Honey, get out here right now. We have to save this poor girl." A burly old fisherman rushed out in a flash. Without asking a single question, he grabbed her and helped me haul her inside. "Damn, son. Your girl is in rough shape," he grunted. "This looks exactly like a gunshot wound." "Yeah, our plane got hijacked earlier today," I admitted. "They robbed us blind and started shooting at everyone." The old man slapped his knee in pure outrage. "What in God's name is this world coming to?" "Hold tight, kid. I've got an old family remedy for this. It doesn't matter how nasty the hole is. Slap some of this on, and she'll be good as new by tomorrow morning." "Are you serious? That's incredible. I've never heard of a medicine like that before," I said. The old lady just smiled warmly. "His family has been fishing these waters for generations, dear. A while back, a massive fish took a literal chunk right out of his arm. But after using this powder, he healed up without a trace." "Really? Is that so?" A cold shiver ran down my spine just picturing that. The old woman brought over a basin of warm water. "Go ahead and clean your girl's wounds first. We'll put the medicine on in a second." I looked down at the absolute nuisance in my arms. Her hands were wrapped in a death grip around my waist, her face buried deep into my chest. She was out cold, clinging to me like I was her only lifeline in a storm. Are you kidding me? Even half dead, this crazy woman is still trying to hit on me. Aren't you supposed to be in a coma? How is she still managing to cop a feel? My impression of this chick just kept tanking. "Your girl really must be crazy about you," the old man chuckled. "Even bleeding out, she refuses to let you go. Ah, to be young and in love. Back in our day, just holding hands was a scandal. I'm so sorry you have to see something this embarrassing." I forced out through a perfectly polite, fake smile. On the inside, I wanted to punt this shameless woman into the sun. How can she be this mangled and still not behave? The sweet old lady opened her mouth to tease me more, but the second her eyes locked onto the woman's pale face, she froze dead in her tracks. Seeing her jaw drop, my brain started spinning. Wait a minute, is this chick actually famous or something? Does a literal grandma in the middle of nowhere recognize her? "Ma'am, do you know who she is?" The old lady squinted, muttering. "She just looks awful familiar. I swear on my life I've seen her face somewhere before. My heart completely dropped into my stomach. Oh God, don't tell me she's some top 10 most wanted fugitive plastered all over the news, or a psycho convict who just busted out of maximum security. Given how violently she was being hunted down on that plane, she's definitely pissed off at least 2 major crime syndicates. Ma'am, please, you have to think really hard. Where did you see her? My actual life depends on this. If she is some high-risk cartel boss, I need to call the cops right this second. I am definitely not going down for harboring a fugitive. The old lady just shook her head with a sigh. I just can't put my finger on it. But looking at your fancy clothes, you kids must be from the big city. You're both so ridiculously good-looking. You just have to be a celebrity couple, I sighed. Please, ma'am, don't flatter us. There is no celebrity on earth who looks this pathetic right now. The old man handed me a bowl. Here, kid. Rub this medicinal powder deep into her wounds. Soon as dinner's on the table, I'll send the wife in to grab you. Thank you so much, I breathed. I am so sorry for all this trouble. Nonsense. It's no trouble at all. The second they clicked the door shut, leaving us totally alone, I spun around to glare at the woman. I mercilessly flicked her right on the forehead. She let out a tiny, pained groan, her delicate eyebrows scrunching together like I'd just kicked a puppy. But then I saw the dark, ugly blood seeping out of her again. A steady, terrifying stream was still pooling right from the center of her chest. Groaning in pure annoyance, I reached down and started unbuttoning her ruined top. And no, not for any perverted reason. I just didn't want her bleeding to death and framing me for murder. By the time I finally got her upper half cleaned up, the basin water was pitch black. I tossed the disgusting bloody water out the window and grabbed a fresh basin of steaming hot water. I braced myself to clean up her lower half, but the second my fingers brushed the waistband of her pants, I froze. You know what? Forget it. I figured I would just give her a quick wipe down and get it over with. There is nothing to be afraid of here. But man, these pants are ridiculously tight. How the heck am I supposed to get them off? I spent a good chunk of time just staring at them in total frustration. Then, a chilling voice suddenly sliced through the silence. What do you think you're doing? I practically jumped right out of my skin. The woman grabbed me by the collar and yanked me straight down into her face. I accidentally pressed right against her wound in the struggle. I'm so sorry. Did I hurt you? I swear I didn't mean to. I scrambled desperately back to my feet. Look, don't get the wrong idea. I was just trying to wipe you down so I could apply the medicine. Judging by the absolute ice in her eyes, she was definitely getting the wrong idea. So I quickly blurted out, I couldn't even figure out how to unfasten your pants. A mysterious, totally unreadable smile suddenly danced in her bright eyes. And what exactly were you trying to unfasten them to look at? That wicked smile gave me the absolute creeps. You don't actually think I'm into you, do you? I already have a girlfriend. I wouldn't even dream of making a move on you. A guy who doesn't even know how to take off a pair of pants actually has a girlfriend? What is the world coming to? I flushed bright red with a mix of utter embarrassment and pure anger. Do you think being together with someone means you just strip them down? My girlfriend and I have a perfectly pure, respectful relationship. We've never done anything like that. Oh, I can tell. Huh? Back on the plane. Your kissing was completely clueless, and frankly, it was awful. It's glaringly obvious you've never kissed anyone before. It was bad enough she brought it up, but hearing her say it to my face made my blood boil. I had saved my first kiss for all these years, fully planning to give my completely untainted self to my girlfriend on our wedding night. I never in a million years expected it to be stolen by this crazy woman for absolutely nothing. I don't need your review. Absolutely fuming. I tossed the medicine straight at her. She just gave me a faint, mocking smile. Aren't you going to help me? Didn't you want to see earlier? Why are you turning your back now? You know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Not every man gets the honor of seeing my body. My girlfriend is way better looking than you. I'd rather look at her any day than look at you. This had to be the very first time this arrogant woman had ever heard anyone claim to be better than her. Watching me hop around in a total fit of rage, a faint, amused smirk crept onto the corners of her lips. Moving slowly and with total deliberation, she leaned slightly closer to me and gently tugged on my sleeve. She opened her mouth to tease me again. But before the words could even leave her lips, I saw that she had lost her balance and was about to fall right off the bed. I lunged forward to catch her, but in the next split second, her soft lips pressed flush against mine without any warning at all. I froze completely solid. After a few seconds of pure, paralyzing shock, I angrily shoved her away from me. "What the heck is wrong with you? Why are you acting like such a total creep, looking as smug as a cat that had just caught a fat fish?" she gloated. "You're the one who threw yourself at me. Would I have come anywhere near you if you weren't about to fall off the bed? I have seriously never met such a brazen, shameless woman in my entire life." Pure amusement danced in her eyes. It was as if the angrier I got with her, the more entertaining she found the whole situation. "If you feel like you got the short end of the stick, you can always just kiss me back." I pursed my thin lips in annoyance. "Give me your phone." "What for?" I just stared at her, secretly trying to piece together her real identity. I had a strong gut feeling that this girl was nothing but bad news. She really looked like some kind of dangerous fugitive. Just then, a sudden knock sounded at the bedroom door. "Young man, dinner is all ready." "Oh, your girl is finally awake?" I loudly protested internally. "She is most definitely not my girl." But out loud, I just said politely, "We'll be right out. Sorry to trouble you again." The woman deliberately chimed in, perfectly timing it. "You haven't even applied my medicine yet." She clearly said it loud enough just so the old woman out there could hear her, prompting me to shoot a lethal glare right back at her. My look practically screamed, "You're not paralyzed. Can't you just put the damn stuff on yourself?" "Ah, young man, it's been so long, and you still haven't put the medicine on your girl? Go take care of it right this instant. It won't be good at all if that wound gets infected. Remember to disinfect her wound with the hydrogen peroxide first, and then pour the powder on. I'll leave you two to it then. Just come out to eat once you're completely done with the medicine." And with that, she clicked the door shut. I shot the crazy woman another fierce, angry glare. She merely nodded back with a smug smile, looking thoroughly pleased with this entire outcome. My teeth ground together so hard in sheer, unadulterated frustration, as I aggressively poured half a bottle of hydrogen peroxide onto her open wound, which had to cause a nasty, burning sting. The woman merely let out a soft murmur. "Ha! This woman actually has some serious grit." Once I finally finished disinfecting her wound, I poured the powder on and gently wrapped the white bandage around her a few times. With all of that painfully awkward medical care finished, the two of us finally walked out of the room, one right after the other. Inside the cozy dining area, the fisherman and his wife were already sitting at the table, waiting hungrily for us. The very moment we walked out, they greeted us so warmly. "Young lady, are you feeling all right now? Come on over and sit." "Come on, sit down. Dinner is served," the old man called out kindly. "We do not have much to offer. Just some humble, simple home cooking. I really hope you do not mind." "Thank you so much," I replied quickly. "We have already caused you two way too much trouble today." Knowing this arrogant woman next to me probably lacked even basic manners, I went ahead and thanked them on her behalf. But after I took my seat, she just remained standing there, completely motionless. Her cold eyes swept across the tiny, run-down, tile-roofed house. "Where exactly are we?" she demanded. The moment she spoke, she radiated this aura of absolute, terrifying authority over everyone in the room. The poor old woman didn't dare hesitate, warmly introducing the place. "This is Fisherman's Village, located right on the edge of South City." "South City? I have actually heard of it. It is about a 10-hour drive from East City." "Give me a phone," she ordered. "A cell phone." "Oh, we do not have cell phones out here. There is a landline in town, though. I will have my husband take you there tomorrow. It only takes about 2 hours." She explained there were no other communication devices anywhere nearby. "We have been fishing here for generations, so we rarely have any contact with the outside world." Finding her entitled behavior incredibly rude, I gave her sleeve a sharp tug, silently signaling for her to just sit down and behave. Surprisingly, the woman didn't resist and smoothly sat right down next to me. On the worn dining table sat a single cooked fish, a steaming bowl of fish soup, and a few small bowls of rice. Everything was served up in coarse, heavily worn rustic dishware. Even the bowls and chopsticks looked badly chipped and worn down, but they were perfectly spotless, likely having been cherished and used for well over a decade. Looking at it, the high and mighty woman suddenly lost her appetite. "Young lady, why aren't you eating?" the old woman asked gently. "Come on now, eat up while it is still piping hot," the kind old woman called out, picking up a piece of fish with her chopsticks to offer her, but the arrogant woman immediately snapped to stop her. "Auntie, don't. The old woman's trembling hand froze right in midair. Caught completely off guard by seeing her warm hospitality so bluntly rejected, I desperately rushed in to smooth things over. She just means she can serve herself. Go ahead and eat. I will get it for her. With that, I politely transferred the piece of fish from the old woman's chopsticks right back into her own bowl. Then, I deliberately picked up a bony piece of the fishtail and dropped it right into the snooty woman's bowl. That is exactly what you get for being so damn picky. There are tons of nasty bones in this piece. Have fun picking them all out. I suddenly felt this incredibly petty thrill of sweet, sweet revenge. But of course, how could a sharp woman like her not see right through my obvious intentions? This guy is seriously playing favorites. I had intentionally given the absolute boniest part, the fishtail, to her, while respectfully serving the meatiest, best portions to the elderly couple. Seeing this obvious slight, instead of throwing a massive tantrum, a faint, almost dangerous smile actually played on her lips. Honey, at home, aren't you always the one who lovingly picks out the fish bones for me? I only eat the fish that you debone for me. I furiously ground my teeth, but with the sweet elderly couple sitting right there, I had to force my boiling anger down. Faking a strained smile, I replied, Babe, you are a grown adult. Stop acting so spoiled and just eat your food. Aw, aren't you even going to feed me? The very moment she purred that, the poor elderly couple completely froze mid-bite. Or, do we need to ask these outsiders to step away and give us some privacy? She added. Outsiders? I almost coughed up blood on the spot. Please, lady. This is literally their own house. You are the massive outsider here, okay? Seriously, where does her insanely innate sense of superiority and wildly self-righteous attitude even come from? Just eat your damn food. The woman smoothly pressed her hand down over my bowl and looked at me with deep, wicked amusement. Or, do you want me to feed you instead? Would you like some warm soup? Or maybe some rice? You. I ground my teeth together, left completely and utterly speechless by her sheer audacity. However you two lovebirds usually eat, please, just do that now. Don't you worry about us, the old woman finally stammered out, awkwardly trying to smooth things over. And just as I frantically opened my mouth to explain, the crazy woman spoke up before I even could. Oh, we usually feed each other, mouth to mouth. Hearing that, the poor old fisherman violently choked and practically spat out a whole mouthful of rice. Oh my goodness, honey, what is wrong with you? The old woman hurriedly patted his back in a panic. You were eating just fine. What happened all of a sudden? While their confused attention was completely turned away, I furiously hissed under my breath in pure exasperation. Okay, that is enough. But the woman just kept that highly amused look plastered on her face, as if daring me. Either you feed me, or I feed you. Finally hitting my absolute limit, I aggressively grabbed her bowl. I mercilessly shoved the fish nasty bones and all straight into her smug mouth, growling viciously through my gritted teeth. You always love eating the crunchy fish bones back at home, honey, so don't be shy here. They won't think you are a weirdo. Here, eat up. I practically crammed every single ounce of my pent-up resentment right down her throat. The poor elderly couple's eyes looked like they were going to pop straight out of their skulls. Wait, someone actually likes eating hard fish bones these days. Oh, don't worry about her, ma'am. Her digestive system is absolutely incredible. Honestly, even if she swallowed this entire ceramic bowl whole, she would still be able to digest it just fine. I forcefully fed her another huge bite, acting purely out of petty spite. Unbelievably, the woman wasn't even slightly annoyed. She just kept smiling at me with that dangerous glint in her eye. To any outsider, we probably looked exactly like a deeply devoted, passionate couple who had been together for years. But, just when I triumphantly thought I had finally won this little round, she suddenly leaned right over and forcefully fed that chewed-up fish straight from her mouth into mine. My eyes flew wide open in pure shock. It literally took my frozen brain a few seconds to process what was actually happening. This absolute lunatic of a woman had actually taken the chewed-up food right from her own mouth and violently forced it all straight into mine. My stomach churned, and I almost gagged, but this crazy woman smashed her lips against mine, literally forcing the food down my throat. The old couple just stood there, their jaws completely on the floor. Like, is this how kids feed each other these days? Talk about a wild thing to see. Were they really living under a rock out here? Or is my generation just moving way too fast? Suffocating from her aggressive kiss, my instincts kicked in and I just swallowed it. Instantly, sheer panic hit me. I braced for a jagged fishbone to rip right through my throat. But shocker, it went down completely smooth, not a single scratch. I stared at her, totally stunned. She just grabbed a rough napkin from the table and, smooth as could be, wiped the spit-out bones from her own lips. She looked so incredibly elegant doing it, too. I honestly couldn't wrap my head around how she separated them with just her mouth. She finally backed off, giving me room to breathe. Are you going to feed yourself now? Or do you need me to feed you again? I practically lunged for my chopsticks. I got it. I'll do it. I avoided her gaze and started shoveling food down like a starving dog. She let me off the hook, then casually dropped a huge chunk of fish belly right into my bowl, but not before picking out every single bone. Slow down, she scolded, sounding exactly like a stern mother. But all I wanted was to scarf this down, finish up, and get as far away from this absolute psycho as possible. 1 agonizing hour later, the torture of a meal was finally over. The old lady opened up a wooden chest and pulled out some really basic, scratchy clothes she had kept for ages. Hey there, young man. Neither of you have washed up yet. These are actually the clothes my husband and I wore on our wedding day. If they aren't too shabby for you, please take them. The bath is already in that room right over there. I froze, totally unsure if I should accept them. Oh man, we definitely can't take these. These are your precious wedding clothes. I can't even fit into them anymore anyway. Keeping them around is purely for the memories. We really don't have anything better to offer you, so I hope you won't judge us. The old woman pressed the clothes right into my hands with a warm, genuine smile. With no way to say no, I just took them. But out of nowhere, this crazy woman chimed in. Those clothes look awful on you. I immediately snapped back. And why do you care? If you hate them so much, why don't you buy me a better set? She didn't even blink and agreed immediately. I decided to push my luck and make a completely outrageous demand, throwing in the cost of tonight's dinner, her meds, and the room. You owe me for everything. You have to pay it all back. 10 times over. 10 times the cost? She just stared at me, totally calm, and said, Deal. A normal human being would never pay 10 times the price for one night's stay. It's completely insane. Her reaction threw me completely off guard. Seriously, is this lady out of her damn mind? Anyone else would have laughed me out of the room for asking that. How on earth did she just say yes so easily? Now, hand over your phone, she demanded, staring right into my soul like she was reading my mind. I grabbed my pocket, my eyes going wide. Wait, how the hell did you know I had a phone on me? Right before I jumped out of that airplane, I had crammed my waterproof phone into my pocket and zipped it tight to keep it from falling out. I notice everything, she said coldly. Sighing, I reluctantly dug the phone out of my pocket. She punched in a number from memory without missing a beat. Track the exact coordinates of this phone. Have someone pick me up tomorrow. Hearing that insane boss energy in her voice, I couldn't help but wonder, who the heck is this chick? She hung up after a few quick words, opened my contacts, and punched her name into a new entry. Here is my contact info. You saved my life today. If you ever find yourself in a bind, just call me. I snatched my phone back, totally rolling my eyes. Like, hello? She's literally running from heavily armed assassins. Hanging around her is just begging for a death wish. Don't worry, I won't be calling, I grumbled. I didn't want to waste another breath on this drama queen, so I spun around to go take my shower. In exchange for saving me, ask for anything you want. No matter how big it is, I will make it happen. Anything? I stopped dead in my tracks and looked back at her. Are you absolutely sure about that? I never break a promise. Seeing her act all high and mighty triggered me. I scoffed. Oh yeah? What if I want a massive mansion and a luxury sports car? Would you give me all of that? Without blinking, she replied, Consider it done. The mansion and the sports car are yours. And I suppose you, Vivian Vance, come as a bonus? Yeah, right. She was completely full of it. Arguing with her was a massive waste of my time. I shot her a dirty look. Move out of my way. Let me go take my damn shower. Meanwhile, as the old lady was clearing the dinner plates, something suddenly clicked in her head. Wait. Isn't that girl the one they were talking about on the news a few days ago? That billionaire CEO, Vivian Vance? Yes. Oh my gosh, that is definitely her. It's totally her. I remember now. Her husband, the fisherman, didn't even look up from fixing his net. You watch way too much television, woman. How could a billionaire CEO ever end up in a dump like this? His wife shot back. She can afford to fly everywhere, so she's clearly out of our league. Don't those CEOs on TV jet set across the globe all the time? The old man just chuckled. My silly wife. So many people take planes these days. We just haven't left this nowhere town in forever. We barely know what the outside world even looks like anymore. Their voices drifted straight through the bathroom window. As I washed up, her name kept looping in my head. Vivian Vance. I muttered it to myself over and over. Why the hell did that name sound so damn familiar? I blindly reached for the shampoo, but my fingers brushed against something crawling. My chest instantly seized up. I whipped my head around and gasped, my heart stopping dead. Panic completely choked my throat. Hearing the massive commotion, Vivian bolted straight toward the noise. Before the old couple even knew what hit them, she had already kicked the bathroom door wide open. She stormed in. The wooden tub was tipped entirely sideways. And there I was, backed into a corner, half naked, dripping wet, and looking like an absolute fool. Vivian didn't even blink. She just stepped right up and gently threw some clothes over my shivering shoulders. Her voice was totally steady, but I caught that flicker of concern. Hey, what's wrong? She swept her eyes across the empty room. My body was coiled tight like a rusted spring, and I grabbed onto her shoulders like my life depended on it. My knuckles turned completely stark white. When I spoke, my voice was a cracked, panicked whisper I couldn't even control. There's something in here. She kept her voice incredibly soft. What is it? What did you see? I went totally stiff, shrinking back with my shoulders, shaking uncontrollably. My eyes were absolutely glued to the dark corner of the room, my voice coming out deep and rough. A cockroach. A flying one. Vivian blinked, totally stunned for a second, before letting out a soft, amused little laugh. She couldn't believe it. Wait, you're terrified of cockroaches? Just get me out of here, I snapped, my voice practically a desperate command. Just the thought that I had actually touched that disgusting thing sent violent shivers down my spine. Every single hair on my body was standing straight up. Those monstrous bugs had been my absolute worst nightmare since I was a little kid. Then, the nightmare happened. The roach launched itself from the corner, dive-bombing right onto the window. I flinched so violently I thought my neck would snap, my face draining of all color as I jumped back. Let go. In my blind panic, my fingers dug viciously into her shoulders. Vivian let out a sharp, pained groan, my death grip clearly aggravating her chest wound. Hey, stop moving. Even in pain, her voice was completely soothing. The more you freak out, the more it's going to come right at you. I froze on the spot. Cold sweat beaded down my forehead as I choked out the words, please, just get me out of this room. Vivian scanned the grimy, pitch-black bathroom, a slight frown crossing her face. From out in the hall, the old man called out, totally panicked. Young man, is everything okay in there? Keeping her voice totally calm, she blocked the door with her body so the old man couldn't peek inside. We're all good, just a little scare. Then, she hooked her arm tight through mine and dragged me straight out of that nightmare bathroom and into the bedroom. She dropped me right onto the edge of the bed. Is a little bug really worth having a meltdown over? She was clearly holding back a smirk, leaving me squirming there, way too embarrassed to even look her in the eye. My muscles were still locked up, my hands visibly shaking. My brain was absolutely short-circuiting on an infinite loop of that flying demon. I braced my hands hard against the mattress, my back completely stiff, desperately trying to force my raging heartbeat to slow down. Seeing me so completely wrecked, yet trying so damn hard to play it tough, a strange, dark look flickered in Vivian's eyes. She suddenly realized something. A guy who was terrified out of his mind, yet still fighting desperately to keep his pride intact, was actually incredibly hot. You can take the bed tonight, she finally said. Feeling like she might lose control and do something crazy if she stayed, she turned to walk right out the door. But then I stopped her. Wait. I was staring in pure horror at a giant, creepy-crawly bug creeping up the bedroom wall, refusing to look away for even a split second. This entire place was a total freak show of pests. Spiders, creeping beetles, and flying nightmares were literally everywhere I looked. Don't tell me you're terrified of bugs, too. Are you even a real man? I shook my head. I desperately wanted to tell her that back when I was a kid, I was totally fearless. Nothing fazed me, but after one traumatizing run-in with a flying cockroach, I became completely paralyzed by anything with more than 4 legs. Just put your clothes on first. The second she said it, I looked down at myself, totally confused. That's when reality hit me like a speeding truck. I was literally wearing nothing but a flimsy bath towel. I had just had a total panic attack, and now I was mortified beyond human comprehension. I scrambled into my clothes at superhuman speed, silently praying the floorboards would just open up and swallow me alive. Just go to sleep. She didn't even laugh at me. Instead, she blew out the old oil lamp and laid down right next to me. I practically jumped out of my skin. You're sleeping in here tonight? Where else am I supposed to go? I hesitated, swallowing hard before saying, 2 total strangers who just met, sharing a single room. Listen, if word gets out about this, your reputation is totally toast, I started, but the woman just completely cut me off. Relax, pretty boy. I have zero interest in you, she scoffed. Besides, I'm injured. Nothing's gonna happen. Honestly, thinking about it, the crazy lady actually had a point. Still, with my life on the line, I couldn't just completely let my guard down around her. Seeing my panicked face, she smirked. Look, if a cockroach shows up, I'll squash it for you. Unlike you, I'm not terrified of tiny bugs. Honestly, that was absolute music to my ears. Man, after such a brutally exhausting day, the fatigue finally hit me like a truck. I slowly lowered my guard and finally drifted off to sleep. Early the next morning, the roaring wind outside made the flimsy, paper-covered windows rattle like crazy. I don't know if the storm was just that intense or if this rundown shack was literally falling apart. But several roof tiles were ripped straight off. They came completely crashing down to the ground with a massive, deafening clatter. But it wasn't a storm. As a wildly luxurious aircraft hovered closer and closer, more tiles went flying, until over half our freaking roof was completely torn away. Left completely exposed, everything inside the shack was blown upside down by the gale force winds. Even the windows shattered into a million pieces. The sweet old couple organizing their fishing nets out in the yard were absolutely scared out of their minds. They frantically scrambled for cover, diving into the safest corner they could find. We all watched as the magnificent chopper tried to touch down again and again, but with zero space, it just aggressively circled in the air. Ultimately, it had no choice but to land on the sandy beach just down the road. Half the neighborhood fishermen ran outside, desperate to see what all the insane fuss was about. I mean, this tiny, isolated fishing village had literally never seen such a massive jaw-dropping commotion. Jolted completely awake by the deafening racket, I looked down and realized I was actually spooning Vivian Vance. I scrambled backward, sitting up in sheer panic. Thank God, both of our clothes were still completely on. But when I looked over at Vivian, she was glaring at me with absolute, utter disgust. You treated me like a giant body pillow all night long, constantly tossing and turning. How the hell was I supposed to get any sleep? Wait, what? I held her tight the entire night. My mind flashed back to the weirdly cozy dream I just had. So, that soft, incredible-smelling thing I was cuddling in my dream wasn't a fluffy puppy? It was actually this terrifying woman? Then, why didn't you just wake me up? He stammered. She rolled her eyes. I figured if I woke you up, your dumb primal instincts would kick in. And trust me, then it wouldn't have been as simple as just a few innocent hugs. Seriously, why does this woman have to sound so incredibly smug and irritating all the time? But then, it suddenly clicked. Wait, what was that massive explosion outside just now? I asked. My people are here to pick us up. Vivian yawned, standing up lazily. Come on, let's go. Like, right this second? But I haven't even brushed my teeth or washed my face yet, I complained. She just shot me a playful, mocking grin. I can fly you somewhere much nicer. Unless, of course, you'd prefer to wash up in that filthy bathroom with your little cockroach buddy. At the mere mention of the word cockroach, I instantly shook my head like a manic bobblehead. I really didn't want to leave with her. But man, I had absolutely zero options left. Defeated, I walked out of the ruined shack right behind her. Outside, a massive, whispering crowd of curious fishermen had already gathered around. Stationed just a few yards away was a completely spectacular, jaw-droppingly massive private jet. A gorgeous custom logo was boldly etched right onto the fuselage, making the whole thing look unbelievably high-end, sleek, and ridiculously luxurious. Now, growing up insanely privileged, I thought there wasn't a single luxury private jet on Earth I hadn't personally flown on, but this specific masterpiece? It was worth a staggering $1 billion, placing it at the absolute untouchable pinnacle of luxury aviation. When it was first unveiled, it caused a massive uproar among the world's elite billionaires. Rumor had it, the thing featured a full living room, an office, an entertainment center, a VIP lounge, a master bedroom, and literally every state-of-the-art toy imaginable. Suddenly, a stunning woman stepped gracefully down from the aircraft's ramp. Looking at her intensely elite, powerful aura, I immediately assumed she was one of those legendary, untouchable trust fund billionaires. But to my total shock, this apparent gorgeous heiress walked straight toward me, a subtle, incredibly gentle smile playing on her perfect lips. "Oh my God," my brain screamed. "Is she actually one of my hardcore secret admirers? I mean, yeah, I know I'm incredibly attractive, but how the heck could a random admirer possibly know I was stranded in this middle-of-nowhere fishing village, desperately needing a rescue? But if she isn't an obsessed fan, why on earth is she staring directly into my soul right now?" Step by agonizing step, she walked closer and closer to me. Oh man, if she drops a love confession on me in the next 5 seconds, what excuse do I even use to reject her? I mean, I already have a girlfriend. I totally can't accept another woman's feelings. But just as I was sweating bullets over this romantic dilemma, the heiress walked right past me and bowed straight down to Vivian Vance. "Boss, I finally found you," she said breathlessly. "Please, I beg you to forgive my severe negligence. I honestly never anticipated that those two rival factions would actually dare to make an assassination move right on your plane." "Wait, what? Boss?" I stared blankly at Vivian. Just who the hell is this woman? She sounds like some kind of terrifyingly high-profile mafia queen. "Did you find out everything?" Vivian didn't even seem mad at her, asking instead with absolute chilling indifference. "Yes," the woman replied tightly. Aside from the Black Dragon Syndicate and the Arctic faction, there was a third, highly dangerous group of completely unknown origin. Before the Black Dragon Syndicate or the Arctic faction could even make a move, that other group aggressively blew the entire wing to pieces. Who were they actually targeting? The woman hesitated for a brief moment before answering. Their target was a man. However, casualties among the passengers were extremely heavy, so we haven't found any solid leads yet. After finishing her report, the woman stole a quick glance at me. Who the hell is this guy? To think he could stand so close to Our Lady. You see, Our Lady has strictly avoided men for years. She absolutely hates close contact with guys, yet she doesn't seem to mind him at all. Vivian Vance's eyes darkened slightly, as if she were deeply contemplating something. After a moment, she barked out an order. "Find someone to redesign and completely renovate this house. You literally tore their roof off when you landed just now." The woman bowed her head guiltily and apologized. "That was my mistake, ma'am." Vivian then asked the old woman standing nearby, "Do you know how to grow vegetables?" The poor old woman was already way too stunned to speak. Judging by this crazy conversation between boss and subordinate, Vivian was definitely someone incredibly extraordinary. Seeing her frozen in silence, the subordinate frowned slightly. "Hey, Our Lady is asking you a question." The old woman hurriedly stammered. "Yes, I do. Give her a vegetable garden, too," Vivian instructed smoothly, then turned her piercing gaze to me. I seriously never expected her to take last night's silly joke so literally. For a second, I honestly didn't know how the heck to respond. "As for the lodging fee, I will compensate them with a brand new home. And as for the medical expenses you mentioned, Chloe, write them a check for $1 million. Hearing her lady's command, Chloe was just about to write it when she suddenly remembered something important. "Ma'am, there aren't any banks around here where there. I mean, Byned, place lease, where though, they can actually cash a check. Even if this sweet couple gets the check, good luck finding a place within thousands of miles to cash it. Bringing that much cash all the way back here would be a massive hassle. Then just make it cash," Vivian stated decisively. Chloe promptly brought a heavy briefcase of cash down from the jet and presented it to the old woman. "This is a token of Our Lady's deep appreciation. Please, accept it." The old woman totally froze, her wrinkled hands trembling wildly as she slowly opened the case. Inside were perfectly neat stacks of $100 bills, and the sheer, mind-blowing amount caused the old woman to instantly pass out. The fisherman hurriedly caught his wife, took one single look into that briefcase, and fainted right along with her. This much cash. They had never seen anything like it in their entire lives. Come with me. Vivian walked ahead, and I hurriedly scrambled right behind her. We boarded the massive private jet. Inside the insanely gorgeous European-style cabin stood 8 luxurious sofas, equipped with state-of-the-art audio-visual systems tucked everywhere. I just knew this had to be the absolute best-performing aircraft among all luxury jets out there. Take him to wash up, Vivian ordered coldly. She then vanished into the master bedroom shower, leaving the other incredibly spacious bathroom just to me. Chloe made a polite, welcoming gesture. Sir, please follow me. Following Chloe, I was just about to ask who Vivian really was, but on second thought, I realized there was absolutely no point. We'd just go our separate ways once we landed, and there was zero chance of us ever crossing paths again. Here are your premium toiletries, and over here is a fresh change of clothes. The bathroom is right there, fully stocked with everything you could possibly need, Chloe introduced politely. I was secretly marveling at everything in my mind. Looking at the tailored clothes laid out on the side, I asked, Wait, are these for me too? Yes, sir. My voice carried a heavy hint of disbelief and sarcasm. Aside from the normal clothes, there was even a set of men's underwear, which felt completely absurd to even think about. Thinking I had misunderstood her intentions, Chloe quickly explained, Oh no, it's not what you think. Our lady requested this via text last night. They should all be your exact size. The tips of my ears instantly burned bright red. When on earth did she send a text? How did I have absolutely no freaking idea? Right around 11 o'clock last night. At Chloe's helpful little reminder, it finally clicked in my brain. I'd already been dead asleep in bed for a while back then. Did she seriously take advantage of me sleeping to secretly use my phone to send a text? Damn it all, don't tell me she snooped through every single private thing on my phone too. At that horrifying thought, a wild mix of burning embarrassment and pure fury instantly flooded my chest. I slammed the bathroom door shut with a loud, echoing bang. Sir, if you need anything at all, just press the call button on the wall. I am at your service at any time, Chloe said respectfully before bowing out. I furiously cursed Vivian out in my head the entire time I washed up. How utterly despicable, secretly using my phone like that. I cursed her 1,000 times over in my mind, but it still didn't even come close to satisfying my rage. When I finally stepped out after my steaming shower, Vivian was already sitting gracefully at the dining table, eating. I noticed she had clearly showered, too. She carried a very pleasant fragrance, and after changing into a beautiful, clean dress, Vivian looked completely refreshed. The incredibly elegant way she sliced her steak proved one thing for sure. She definitely didn't come from just any ordinary wealthy family. The second I sat down, her voice cut through the silence. You saved my life last night. As a token of my gratitude, I'm giving you a $10 million reward. My hand froze midair. Why the hell did those words rub me the wrong way so badly? Taking her cue, Chloe instantly scribbled out a $10 million check and slid it across the table with total reverence. Sir, please accept Our Lady's token of appreciation. I shot it down instantly, my voice freezing cold. Keep it. What happened last night was just me lending a hand, nothing more. Then just consider it your payment for sleeping with me. The second Vivian dropped that bombshell, Chloe froze in sheer horror. Wait, what? This random guy was actually in bed with their boss last night? Talk about earth-shattering news. You have to understand, her boss had dodged men like the plague for years. Forget male escorts or bodyguards. Even her top assistant was a woman. Normally, whenever the old man tried to set her up on blind dates, she'd ice him out immediately. Getting this woman to even look at a guy was harder than pulling teeth. What kind of crazy miracle happened last night? Or did this dude have some sort of dark magic to make the Ice Queen submit so completely? I grabbed the check and flicked it right back at Vivian. If anything, this should be considered my tip for your services. Still completely pissed off, I yanked a single $1 bill from my wallet and tossed it on the table. Since you put on such a great performance last night, consider this a little extra tip from me. Payment for a good performance? Chloe was utterly mind-blown, but despite her shock, her ninja reflexes kicked in, and she snatched the check right out of the air. In the same breath, She caught the $1 bill, barely stopping both papers from slapping her boss right across the face. Vivian shot me this totally unreadable look. I cleared my throat and dropped my voice. Look, I'd appreciate it if you didn't go blabbing about what happened last night. After all, absolutely nothing happened between us. I don't know how many side pieces you have running around, but I already have a girlfriend. So do me a favor, Miss Vance, and show a little respect for my boundaries. Standing off to the side, Chloe's jaw practically hit the floor. How on earth could her boss fall for a guy who was already taken? And to make things worse, he totally treated her like a joke. You have to realize, this woman had crowned the Forbes billionaire list for 6 straight years, as the absolute ultimate elite heiress. Whether it came to brains or beauty, every single part of her was intimidatingly perfect. Yet this punk was treating her like absolute dirt. Chloe screamed internally, "Dude, you seriously need to get your eyes checked." Even if you're clueless about who she really is, just looking at the insane luxury of this private jet, Our Lady is obviously a massive upgrade from your little girlfriend, okay? Instead of begging to be her boy toy, you're literally kicking her to the curb. Are you insane? You certainly are devoted to your girlfriend. Vivian's tone was completely flat, but Chloe could read between the lines. Her boss was actually bothered by this. Oh wow, the plot thickens. But don't get jealous now, ma'am. Usually whatever you want, you just take. Forget some girlfriend. Even if this guy was married, you could easily steal him away, couldn't you? I let out a harsh, mocking scoff. You flatter me, Miss Vance. I'm just not nearly as promiscuous as you are. Promiscuous? Did this guy really just have the balls to call her boss easy? Chloe nearly choked on her own spit. But Vivian wasn't even slightly mad. Instead, she just smirked. Eat up. You're going to need your energy if you want to keep fighting with me. I didn't bother holding back on the feast in front of me. I literally saved her life yesterday, and she had already pissed me off a dozen times since. The absolute least she owed me was a free breakfast. With that in mind, I scarfed down the food while Vivian just watched me, a faint smile on her lips. She casually sliced off a piece of her steak and dropped it onto my plate. Try this. It's actually pretty good. I took my fork and shoved the meat right off my plate. Who the hell wants to eat your leftovers? I can cut my own food, thanks. Chloe was honestly floored by how absolutely savage this guy was. He just did whatever he wanted, completely unbothered. He wasn't giving her lady a single ounce of respect. Having grown up right by her lady's side, this was the first time she'd ever seen someone treat the billionaire heiress like she was totally invisible. I mean, every guy in the past practically got on their knees begging for her lady's attention. But this dude, he was a wildly refreshing change of pace. By the time I finished inhaling my breakfast, the jet had already touched down at the East City Commercial Airport. Thanks for the hospitality, Miss Vance. Have a nice life. Yeah, and I hope we never cross paths again. I bolted off that plane, hailed a cab, and got the hell out of there. Vivian just watched me leave, her eyes trailing my cab, lost in some deep thought. Standing quietly beside her, Chloe cautiously asked, "Ma'am, are we heading home now?" Chloe could instantly feel the icy tension radiating from her lady. "To the office," Vivian ordered. Her voice was dead flat, heavily laced with a lingering disappointment. Unable to hold back, Chloe cautiously chimed in. "Ma'am, should I dig into his identity?" Vivian shot her a bone-chilling glare, silently shredding Chloe for daring to be so nosy. Chloe flinched, opening her mouth to stammer an apology, but then Vivian's voice unexpectedly softened. "Chloe, I'm realizing you understand me better and better these days." Catching that enigmatic, dangerous smirk playing on her boss's crimson lips, Chloe just shivered. She had no idea if she should breathe a sigh of relief or be utterly terrified. This was completely unheard of. Her lady had never, ever acted this obsessed over a man. Just to give him a ride, they had flown straight past her own massive estate without a second glance. She had deliberately gone out of her way to land at East City's only commercial airport, purely to make it easier for him to catch a cab. It made zero sense. They had only spent a single night together. Swallowing her shock, Chloe bowed her head. "Yes, ma'am. I'll get on it right away." Meanwhile, Vivian just leaned back, her deeply amused gaze drifting out the window. Meanwhile, the second I slid into the back of a taxi, I gave the driver my destination. "Rockwood Group, please." The driver blinked, glancing at me in the rearview mirror with sheer surprise. "Wait, are you talking about the Rockwood Group over on South River Road?" "Yeah." Is there a problem? I asked. The driver opened his mouth to speak, then awkwardly shut it, deciding to keep quiet. He probably figured I hadn't been around in ages and was completely clueless that the giant corporation had actually changed its name. Shifting into drive, he dropped the subject and slammed on the gas. As we sped down the highway, I rolled down the window and took a deep breath of the crisp air. East City. I am finally back. The roaring wind against my face felt incredibly nostalgic, washing away my stress and putting me in an amazing mood. It suddenly hit me that I hadn't even texted my parents yet. Whatever. I'll just show up completely out of the blue and give them the ultimate surprise. Plus, today was Nina Collins's birthday. The special gift I'd worked so damn hard to get for her vanished into thin air when I jumped out of that plane, which honestly pissed me off a bit. All because of that crazy woman who stole my very first kiss. If it wasn't for her, I never would have been dragged into this insane mess. Sighing, I whipped out my phone and dialed our usual bakery. Hello? Do you guys have any high-end, pre-made cakes ready to go right now? The line went dead silent before a shaky voice answered. Master Ethan? Is that you? On the other end, the poor receptionist practically dropped her phone. For well over 10 years, the ultra-wealthy Grayson family had ordered every single dessert from her little shop. Because of that, she knew every single VIP phone number connected to the Grayson family completely by heart. But she was trembling right now because my number hadn't called her in 3 whole years. Yeah, it's me, I chuckled. I just got back into the country and I need your absolute biggest cake. Can you guys whip that up for me today? She gasped. Wait, are you ordering this for Miss Collins? It was no secret. Every single year around this time, the Grayson family threw a massive party and ordered a custom cake for Nina Collins. Everyone at the bakery knew the drill. Still, the receptionist nervously cleared her throat. Sir, I just thought you should know. The custom cake ordered by the second young master was already delivered this morning. Wow, I didn't expect Aaron to be so on top of things. My half-brother was always looking out for me, going out of his way to handle even the smallest details like ordering her birthday cake. Thinking about my family waiting for me, a warm, relieved smile spread across my face. Then there's no need. Thank you anyway. I hung up, totally unbothered. There was absolutely zero shame in showing up empty-handed. After all, we were family. Feeling lighter than ever, I watched the city flash by. The closer we got to the corporate headquarters, the more insanely luxurious the streets became. That made perfect sense. After all, my family's massive conglomerate was easily one of the absolute top enterprises in the entire city. While I was lost in my own happy thoughts, the taxi smoothly pulled over. We're here, kid. I handed him some cash and stepped out. But instantly, something felt very wrong. I stared up at the giant glowing letters. Why the hell did the name change? What on earth was the Rockrest Group? Narrowing my eyes in sheer confusion, I scanned the massive plaza. This was definitely the Grayson family's private property. Every single skyscraper looked exactly the way I left it. But right before my brain could process this weird name change, 2 corporate guys wearing company lanyards rushed right past me. Hey, didn't Mr. Grayson just say yesterday that he wouldn't even be coming in today? We really need to stay on top of this big proposal, one muttered. I know, right? Mr. Grayson is just incredibly sharp. Under his direct leadership, our profit margins have actually multiplied over the last 3 years. I immediately stepped in their path. Hey, hold up a second. Is the Mr. Grayson you guys are talking about? Arthur Grayson? The guy blinked. Yeah, it is. He gave me a very weird, awkward smile. Oh, got it, I laughed, waving them off. It's nothing then. Sorry to bother you guys. Giving me one last bizarre look, the 2 of them hurried inside. I let out a breath. Okay, so my family's empire simply rebranded and changed its name. No big deal. Just like that, all the tense questions and random anxiety that had been bubbling up inside my chest completely vanished. Confidently strutting through the grand glass doors of the lobby, I walked straight up to the front desk. Hello, sir. Who are you here to see today? The receptionist immediately stood up, flashing a highly respectful smile. Her sweet, professional smile made me feel right at home. Hey there. My name is Ethan Grayson. I'm Arthur Grayson's son. I'm the executive CEO of this entire conglomerate. Could you be a dear and let my dad know I'm here? Just tell him I finally made it back into the country and I'm heading up right now. But the exact second those words left my mouth, she just stared at me. And then she completely burst out laughing, every single ounce of her professional respect vanishing into thin air. Her polite mask vanished, replaced by pure disgust. Sir, are you absolutely sure you're in the right place? There is only one executive CEO named Grayson in this entire building, and that is our director, Mr. Arthur Grayson. And you claim to be his son? Well, Mr. Grayson only has one son here, and that is our chairman, Mr. Aaron Grayson. My brother? Aaron? I just stood there, totally dumbfounded. Don't you even bother doing a quick search before you lie to me? She scoffed. Wait, Aaron became the chairman too? 3 years ago, when Grandpa passed away, his lawyer made it crystal clear while reading the will. 80% of the Rockwood Group's shares, along with tens of billions in Grayson family assets, were supposed to be a fair competition between me and my dad, Arthur Grayson. Whoever met the inheritance conditions first would earn the absolute right to take over everything. Before the will was even executed, my dad and I were both executive CEOs of this massive conglomerate, running the whole show together. That will didn't contain a single, solitary mention of Aaron. He had absolutely nothing to do with it. I managed a weak, awkward smile and asked, Look, is it possible there's just been some kind of huge mistake? I swear everything I'm saying is the absolute truth. The Aaron Grayson you just mentioned. He's my little brother. The receptionist kept up her polite but incredibly strained smile. Is that so? I've been working here for 3 years, and I have never, not once, heard that Chairman Grayson has an older brother. But I dug my heels in. Arthur Grayson really is my dad, I insisted. If I were just some fraud, how would I know his exact name? The receptionist's lips twitched. She finally decided to drop the fake pleasantries entirely. Way too many people know our director's name, buddy. I don't know where you caught wind that our director wouldn't be in today, prompting you to run over here and play make-believe as his son, but let me give you a piece of advice. Fraud is a really terrible career path. She lectured me in this painfully patronizing tone, leaving me caught somewhere between bursting into tears and laughing out loud. You really have it all wrong, I pleaded. I am his 100% legitimate son. She rolled her eyes. Right, and I'm Elon Musk's secret daughter. You're a good-looking guy. You could be doing literally anything else with your life. Why resort to this kind of dirty trick? I bet you're just trying to sneak into the director's office to steal something, aren't you? Just look at those cheap, knockoff designer clothes you're wearing. You dress up all nice, but who would have thought you're just a pathetic con artist? When I walked in earlier, this same receptionist thought I was some VIP client. Now she was treating me like a total street rat. I am seriously not lying to you. My dad and I are both executive CEOs of this entire conglomerate. Yeah, sure. Just yesterday, some other crazy guy claimed to be Chairman Collins' boyfriend, making a massive scene right here in the lobby. It was hilarious. Honestly, you'd actually have more credibility if you used that excuse instead. I grew even more confused. Wait, are you talking about Nina Collins? I really am her boyfriend. The receptionist rolled her eyes so hard I thought she was going to pass out. Right, and I'm Timothée Chalamet's secret wife. You really just don't know when to quit, do you? If you don't leave right now, I am having security drag you out. Knowing it was totally useless to argue with a brick wall, I took a deep breath and spoke patiently. Please, just patch me through to the internal line. I will speak to Mr. Grayson myself. That is the quickest way to prove my identity. The receptionist gave me another massive dramatic eye roll. Sir, if you keep being this incredibly stubborn, I am seriously calling the cops. Now, get out. Today is a major celebration, and we don't need you bringing your bad luck around here. I pressed on, totally lost. What major celebration? Ah, so you really are clueless. Today is the birthday of our future young mistress, Chairman Collins. Every single executive has gone up to the Sky Garden to celebrate with her, and meanwhile, you're standing down here looking like an absolute idiot, posing as Mr. Grayson's son. Instead of wasting your life on cheap scams, maybe you should try sneaking up there just to see what the real heir of the Grayson family actually looks like. I knew continuing to argue with her was a complete waste of breath. I stormed out, hailed a taxi, and hopped in. feeling a bizarre mix of absolute annoyance and dark amusement. Was this receptionist just intentionally making my life a living hell, or was she just doing her job a little too perfectly? I yanked out my phone and dialed my parents, but after several long rings, nothing. No answer. Then, I called my brother. Still nothing. After that, I desperately dialed Nina Collins. But without a single exception, all four of them completely ghosted me. Not a single person picked up my calls. Feeling a pit form in my stomach, I turned to the driver. Hey man, quick question for you. How exactly did the Rockwood Group suddenly become the Rockcrest Group? I have no idea, buddy, he shrugged. I've been driving this route for 2 years, and it has always been the Rockcrest Group. I have literally never heard of any Rockwood Group. I just nodded, shutting my mouth and stopping the questions right there. The second we pulled up to the Grand East Hotel, I made a beeline straight for the penthouse sky garden. But of course, because I didn't have a fancy little invitation, the two beefy security guards flat out refused to let me step foot inside, no matter how desperately I tried to explain myself. They stood there like brick walls, completely unyielding and showing zero mercy. Move along, buddy. Just move along. Don't block the entrance. Listen to me, I shouted. I really am Arthur Grayson's son. If you don't back off right now, things are going to get physical. Wait a sec. Isn't that Ethan? A super familiar smirk suddenly flashed right in front of me. I looked up. Sean? After 3 whole years, the guy had somehow gotten even better looking. The second the two security guards spotted him, they instantly bowed in respect. Good evening, Mr. Hudson. Sean totally brushed them off, locking his eyes straight back onto me instead. Dude, when did you even get back to the States? How come I didn't hear a single peep about this from my boy-crazy sister? Literally just a couple of days ago, when my old man was hounding her to get married, she actually used your name as her ultimate human shield. She straight up told him to clone someone exactly like you if he wanted her to tie the knot, which absolutely had us dying of laughter. Sean, seriously, please stop messing with me. You've been relentlessly roasting me since we were just kids. Bro, how in the world is that making fun of you? To catch the eye of my obsessive sister and have her shamelessly chase you for 3 straight years? You completely shattered the record for the longest pursuit ever. You are easily the absolute hardest catch. Sean busted out laughing and slapped me hard on the shoulder. Sean, I'm dead serious. Cut the jokes for a second. You got here right in the nick of time. These guys don't believe a word of who I am. So could you please just vouch for me? Sean tapped his chin, looking all thoughtful. Oh yeah? And what exactly is in it for me? Come on, just consider it a massive personal favor that I owe you. I swear I'll pay you back later, as long as it's something I can actually pull off. Just name your price, Sean. All right, you bozos see him clearly now? If you know what's good for your jobs, step aside. How on earth could those two clueless guards have known that the guy standing right in front of them was actually the legitimate young master of the Grayson family? Sweating bullets, they quickly cleared the way, and I shot Sean a huge look of gratitude. But just as I was about to stride inside, I heard Sean murmur, Though, Ethan, you seriously picked the absolute worst possible day to show your face. I have zero clue what you mean by that, Sean. Well, from what I'm hearing, there's a phenomenal, mind-blowing drama about to unfold tonight. And honestly, I absolutely live for this kind of wild spectacle. If it wasn't guaranteed to be top-tier, popcorn-worthy entertainment, I wouldn't have even bothered showing up in person. I stood there, completely and totally mystified. Suddenly, the massive venue lights dimmed out sharply, leaving just a single, blinding spotlight tracking right onto the main stage. Arthur Grayson stood up there, beaming with absolute pride. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a truly wonderful piece of news to announce tonight regarding my son's upcoming marriage. The entire elite crowd went dead silent in perfect unison, waiting with bated breath. A major corporate merger? Wait, when the heck did that happen? I felt super bewildered, but at the exact same time, intensely curious. Wait a second. Is Dad actually about to publicly announce my marriage to Nina Collins? Why on earth wouldn't he even discuss something this massive with me beforehand? First off, let us all welcome the Grayson family's gorgeous future daughter-in-law, Nina Collins, onto the stage. Arthur Grayson took the immediate lead in applauding. Standing proudly down below the stage in the shadows, I eagerly joined in the clapping. Not having seen my girl in 3 long years, Nina looked a whole lot slimmer. A breathtaking, gentle smile adorned her pretty face, making her seem even more warmly approachable. Just gazing at her from afar, my heart swelled. I felt she was absolutely, undeniably wonderful. And now, everyone, let's give a warm welcome to my beloved son, Aaron Grayson, right here onto the stage. Following Arthur's booming announcement, the entire ballroom erupted into thunderous applause as Aaron strutted onto the stage with a slick smile. Not having seen my little brother in 3 years, he definitely looked way more mature. But what I never in a million years could have anticipated was that Nina Collins was actually tightly holding hands with Aaron Grayson. The two of them gazed so affectionately into each other's eyes, looking exactly like a sickeningly, deeply infatuated couple. That feeling of a total, brutal bolt from the blue hit me way too fast. I couldn't even keep my footing, stumbling heavily a full step backward. I absolutely could not believe that my very own girlfriend and my backstabbing younger brother were actually about to announce their marriage. Sean quickly reached out to physically steady me. Can't even handle this much, man? Buckle up, because the real show hasn't even started yet. Arthur Grayson's hearty booming laughter suddenly rang out loudly across the room. On this incredibly beautiful day, I am so deeply proud to formally announce the grand union of the Grayson and Collins families. My spectacular son, Aaron, will be officially marrying the sole heiress of the Collins empire, the lovely Nina Collins. Their lavish wedding will be held on the 28th of next month. Today is not only the grand, magnificent celebration of the third anniversary of the massive merger between Rockwood Group and Collins Corporation, but it is also our dear Nina's birthday banquet and their official, spectacular engagement party. The sickening words engagement party hit me like a literal sledgehammer to the skull, completely and utterly blindsiding me. I only felt a deafening, high-pitched ringing in my ears and an unprecedented, agonizingly sharp pain ruthlessly piercing my shattered heart. The loyal girlfriend I had deeply loved for 8 long years was actually about to get engaged to my own younger brother. How in the hell is this nightmare even possible on such a supposedly wonderful day? But sadly, I also have a deeply regrettable, tragic matter to announce tonight. My eldest son, Ethan Grayson, was tragically involved in a fatal plane crash just yesterday. From this dark day forward, I, Arthur Grayson, am left with Aaron as my one and only living son. With my poor Ethan's tragic passing, he naturally, automatically forfeits all of his previous inheritance rights. The entire future operations and control of our vast conglomerate will now rest entirely upon the capable shoulders of Aaron and Nina. The very second Arthur uttered those chilling words, the entire luxury venue plunged into an absolute, breathless state of shock. While hypothetically silently mourning for my so-called death, the greedy guests also slyly stole envious glances at Nina and Aaron, the two newly designated, all-powerful successors. So, the Rockcrest Group was officially changing hands. I honestly never saw this nightmare coming. My own flesh-and-blood father had prematurely declared me dead, tossing me aside like absolute garbage. Even if I was in a horrific accident, did he seriously not even bother to look for his own son? When I sent Ethan abroad 3 years ago, my original intention was for him to master the art of perfumery, so he could return and help me run this empire. I just never expected fate to cut his life so tragically short. But I suppose it just wasn't his destiny. Today is a joyous occasion. So, let's set Ethan's unfortunate matter aside for now. Let's dwell on the past no further. Everyone, please eat, drink, and enjoy yourselves. Cheers. Here is to the Rockcrest Group growing stronger and better than ever. Arthur, my father, raised his glass toward the cheering crowd as he finished his sickening little speech. The high society guests echoing throughout the lavish hall eagerly raised their glasses in response. Meanwhile, my heart felt like it was being violently hacked to pieces by a jagged blade. Staring up at the stage, looking at that radiantly beaming man, I just couldn't bring myself to believe it. Was this heartless monster really my dad? Dad, you still have me and Aaron to look after you from now on. So please, don't be sad anymore. After raising her elegant glass to toast him, my fiancée, Nina Collins, gently took his arm and guided him slowly down the stage stairs. That is right, Dad. Even though you lost one son, you have gained a wonderful daughter in Nina. Heaven has truly been good to you. You win some, you lose some, right? Aaron smugly held his other arm, while Arthur affectionately patted my backstabbing brother's shoulder. Mr. Lewis from the Lewis Group is here today, along with Mr. Campbell from the Vanguard Group. Come, let me take you two over to meet them. Eleanor, you come along too. I will be traveling on business a lot in the near future, so I will have to trouble you to look after the kids. Oh, honey, what are you even saying? After all, I am the corporate chairwoman. Even if they weren't my very own children, I would still take excellent care of them. My wicked stepmother, Eleanor, smiled radiantly. I looked at the four of them acting like a picture-perfect, complete family, and suddenly felt like an absolute ghost. Watching this disgusting scene play out right before my eyes, my entire body trembled with rage. I had only been gone for 3 damn years, and my entire world had been stolen from me. Arthur proudly led his shiny new family around the venue, happily greeting the elite CEOs of various rival conglomerates. The family of 4 chatted and laughed like they hadn't a care in the world as they approached the dining table, getting ready to feast. Wow, you all look so incredibly happy. Did something interesting happen without me? At the chilling sound of my voice, the smug smiles instantly vanished from the faces of that precious family of 4. Aaron was the very first to react, his eyes widening in sheer, utter disbelief. Ethan, you're back? What's the matter? What? Am I not supposed to come back? I sneered. But you're not dead? He stammered. Were you desperately hoping I would die, little brother? No, I just meant. It's literally impossible. Aaron had never, in his wildest dreams, expected his older brother to actually return alive. And Arthur's face? It dropped just as heavily as Aaron's. Ethan, didn't the plane you were on crash? I literally saw the news report saying there were absolutely 0 survivors. I let out a cold, mocking laugh that cut through the silence. So, without even bothering to look for my body, you just went ahead and pronounced me legally dead? I could not even begin to describe the agonizing betrayal I felt in that exact moment. My very own flesh and blood father had announced my tragic death to the world with absolute chilling indifference. Seeing the explosive tension, Eleanor desperately tried to smooth things over with a fake, half-reproachful smile. Ethan, darling, you're being quite naughty. Since you miraculously survived, you should have at least called home to let us know you were safe. You have no idea how sick with worry the 4 of us were. None of us could sleep a wink all night. Oh, is that so? I scoffed loudly. Because you all look completely refreshed and thriving to me. In fact, not a single one of you looks like you lost a single second of sleep. I slowly lifted my furious gaze. On the contrary, getting to effortlessly inherit every single asset under my name must have made you all absolutely thrilled, didn't it? Seeing my violently rising hostility, Arthur immediately barked like a cornered dog. Ethan, how dare you speak to your mother like that? I know you are upset about Nina and Aaron. It is a hell of a lot for you to process all at once. But with so many high-profile guests present, you need to step down and show some basic respect for the Grayson family's reputation. Drop your childish attitude right now. And who exactly is going to respect my dignity? I roared, turning a deeply resentful, burning glare toward Nina Collins. Honestly, if she was just willing to give me one single rational explanation, I might have been stupid enough to let bygones be bygones. Oh, but she didn't show a single, pathetic shred of remorse. Ethan, about Aaron and me. I am truly sorry. The only reason I didn't tell you the truth sooner was because I was terrified you'd get totally hysterical like this. Hysterical? I snapped. I have just been brutally betrayed by the people I loved and trusted the most, and I am just supposed to suffer through it silently, like a good little dog, without an ounce of resentment, throughout our entire 8 years together. If you had just been honest with me for even a single day, things would have never reached this sick, twisted point. You looked me in the eyes and told me you loved me, while secretly promising your entire life to my younger brother, Nina Collins. So this is what your cheap love actually looks like. Saying those words aloud, I was completely consumed by a toxic mixture of blinding rage and shattering heartbreak. Literally just yesterday, she was still texting me that she loved me. How in the world could everything change so drastically today? Well, Ethan, no one can ever really predict how human feelings will go. Eleanor adjusted her expensive shawl and actually had the nerve to lecture me in a sickeningly patronizing tone. Nina and Aaron are deeply in love now. You need to accept that. Are you really cold-blooded enough to rip them apart? You can't force love, Ethan. Instead of throwing a massive tantrum, you should just take the high road and give them your blessing. We're all family at the end of the day. Does it honestly even matter if Nina picked you or Aaron? Yeah, I roared, the betrayal burning in my throat. It makes a massive freaking difference. Aaron is Aaron, and I am me. I'm the rightful heir to this entire empire. And he's not. Didn't you hear what your father just announced? Aaron is an heir now too. Plus, your timing is perfect. Nina is actually pregnant. Aaron is going to have his hands full. So, you can just work under him and help out. My knees buckled. It felt like I had just been struck by a bolt of lightning. Why would you guys do this? Seriously. Why my own family? Never in my wildest nightmares did I ever imagine that my fiancé and my brother were already expecting a kid together. Ethan, in just a few short months, our baby is going to be born. You're going to be an uncle so soon. Aren't you happy for us? Aaron finished his little speech, a smug, highly provocative gleam flashing in his eyes. It was such a blatant, toxic power trip. How the hell could I possibly miss the mockery? Ethan, you've been studying abroad since we were kids. You're the smart one. So why don't you help us name our baby? Aaron knew damn well that I was suffocating in pure agony. Yet he was deliberately pouring salt directly into my open wounds. Oh, that's actually a fantastic idea. My father, Arthur, chimed in. Ethan, if it makes you feel any better about the situation, they can let the kid call you Godfather, and you get to pick the name. How about that? I let out a cold, utterly bitter laugh. Was this supposed to be some sick act of charity? If things hadn't blown up like this, I never would have realized that my own flesh and blood could be so utterly, disgustingly shameless. Fine. Then let's name him. Miles. I spat with a deadly sneer. That way, when the kid grows up, he knows to stay miles away from human garbage like you. How about that? My mother, Eleanor, instantly snapped. Ethan, have all the manners I've painstakingly taught you over the years gone completely down the drain? Well, Eleanor, why don't you focus on fixing your own twisted morals first? I grabbed a crystal glass of red wine from the table. Since you two lovebirds are getting hitched, shouldn't I propose a nice, heartfelt toast? Aaron kept up his fake, gentlemanly composure. I am genuinely thrilled you made it back in one piece, bro. Nina and I really, truly need your blessing for our big day. I flashed a psychotic smile. Then I wish you complete and total infertility, and a house absolutely packed with bastards. With that, I violently chucked the red wine directly into his smug face. Nina gasped in sheer, unadulterated horror. My God, Ethan, you have gone way too far. No matter what happened, Aaron is still your brother. How could you do something so vicious? You are completely classless, Arthur shouted, clearly stunned that I would commit such an outrageous breach of high society etiquette. Yet, I didn't see a single damn thing wrong with what I did. Instead, I picked up a second glass of wine, marched right up to my cheating fiancé and said, "And this glass is for you, Nina. May we never, ever cross paths again for the rest of our miserable lives." The second the words left my mouth, I hurled the crimson liquid right at her. Eleanor lunged to intercept it, but she was a split second too late. The dark, sticky wine splashed across Nina's face, completely ruining her flawless, expensive makeup. Watching my own father and the woman I loved fussing so desperately over the man who stole my life, my heart throbbed with a vicious, suffocating pain. Were these absolute monsters really the family I once knew and loved? I smashed the empty crystal glass violently onto the marble floor, locking a murderous glare onto Arthur. I spat out every single syllable with pure venom. This shattered glass is exactly like the bonds between us. It can never, ever be put back together. From this day forward, we are completely and utterly dead to each other. You all can walk your sunny, perfect path, and I'll stick to my own damned road. Like a wounded, lone wolf bleeding out in the snow, I turned my back on them and walked away, vanishing from their sight without looking back. Outside, without me even realizing it, a massive, torrential downpour had started. Overcome with blinding grief, I walked straight into the storm, letting the freezing rain wash over me like a bitter baptism. It's time to wake up, Ethan. I've been an absolute fool for 8 long years. It's time to snap the hell out of it. The biting, freezing rain ruthlessly drenched me down to my very soul. I burst into a hollow, pathetic laugh, feeling like my entire existence was nothing but a cosmic joke. But that deranged laughter quickly gave way to hot, stinging tears. As the storm battered my body, I sank into a black hole of agony that I just couldn't crawl out of. Blinding headlights flashed as multiple cars honked their horns furiously at me. Are you out of your freaking mind? If you want to end it all, go do it somewhere else. Don't ruin my bumper. Psycho. Get the hell out of the road. Move it. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear the horn? I just laughed hysterically into the rain, acting exactly like an escaped madman. The harsher the strangers screamed at me, the more crazily I giggled. But then, out of nowhere, a sleek black car sped through the dark intersection, hurtling straight toward my chest. I instantly recognized the model, the custom license plate, and the dark tint. Wait, wasn't that Nina's car? I stood frozen like a deer in the headlights, completely dazed. Nina actually came to find me. She must have realized she made a horrible mistake. She's coming to beg for my forgiveness. In that split second, I didn't even know if I should forgive her. Those 8 years of intense love were like delicate embroidery stitch by bloody stitch, woven inextricably into the very fabric of my youth. To just take a scalpel and completely cut out the part of my memories that belonged to her, I just didn't have the strength to do it. Then, with a sickening, heavy thud, I watched with my own 2 eyes as that black car slammed violently into my body, crushing everything. In that split second, my mind just went completely blank. It turned out she actually wanted me dead. My eyes flew wide open. I simply couldn't believe it. All of this, just because I splashed a single glass of wine on Erin? Did she seriously drive all the way out here just to run me down and kill me? A dark, unsettling laugh bubbled up in my throat. My body slammed hard against the brutal pavement, and everything faded to black. The freezing rain poured down without mercy, washing over the bright crimson pool spreading beneath me. "Ma'am, we hit someone." An anxious voice suddenly rang out. I'm just not used to driving Director Collins's car. By the time I saw someone in the pouring rain, I couldn't hit the brakes in time. The woman in the back seat didn't even bat an eye. Her voice was icy and totally detached. "Get someone to handle it." Chloe leaned forward, wiping the fogged windshield and squinting to get a better look. "Ma'am, I think it's Mr. Grayson." "Did I just hit Mr. Grayson?" Those words instantly made the woman in the back seat snap her head up. "It's him." With a heavy thud, the car door violently swung open. Vivian Vance strode quickly through the rain toward my fallen body. Before Chloe could even react, her boss had already dropped to her knees, straining to lift me up. "Chloe, watch out for his injuries. Call Dr. Evans and head straight home." "Right away, ma'am." Vivian looked down at the man resting in her arms. It was absolutely pouring. What on earth was Ethan doing just standing out here? Why didn't he even try to dodge when the car came rushing at him? The blood from the back of his head mixed with the freezing rain, staining Vivian's elegant dress a deep crimson. "Chloe, step on it." "Yes, ma'am." Chloe was already pushing the pedal down as fast as humanly possible. Chloe sped the car straight into the West Coast estates. This exclusive area, widely known as the most expensive real estate in East City, was where Vivian Vance actually lived. "Welcome home, ma'am." Following Vivian's panicked, hurried footsteps, a team of doctors and nurses frantically trailed right behind her into the massive living room. Their boss had always been a massive germaphobe. How could she possibly allow someone completely dripping wet onto her pristine bed? And a man, no less. The medical team exchanged bewildered, wide-eyed glances. "Ma'am, aren't we going to bandage this gentleman's wounds? Get out, all of you." What exactly did she think she was doing? Right at that moment, a maid walked in carefully carrying a basin of warm water. Once everyone else had cleared the room, she actually reached out to peel off my soaking wet shirt. A warm, damp towel gently wiped back and forth across my freezing chest. "Come in." Hearing Vivian's command, the anxious group waiting outside the door cautiously filed back into the bedroom. They immediately froze, seeing Vivian personally wiping down my bare body. "Quickly, dress his wounds." Chloe just stood off to the side, silently marveling to herself. Her boss was actually looking this guy's body up and down, meticulously checking every single inch of him. Something like this could have easily been left to a hired caregiver, or, at the very least, she could have ordered me to do it. How could someone like her stoop to doing such menial work herself? "No, please, don't go." I suddenly grabbed the edge of the doctor's coat, weakly murmuring in sheer agony. "Doctor!" Evans violently flinched. His hand slipped, applying the medicine way too heavily and making me gasp out loud from the sharp, shooting pain. "Get away!" Vivian roughly shoved Dr. Evans aside. "You absolute clumsy fool. You can't even handle a simple task like this properly. Taking over, Vivian personally began to apply the soothing medicine directly to my wounds. Why? Why would you do this to me? I muttered deliriously. Why? Vivian frowned, deeply concerned. What exactly is going on here? Did someone dare to mistreat Ethan? Chloe, go find out exactly what happened to him. Understood, ma'am. Since when did their untouchable boss ever care this deeply about any man? Furthermore, replace every single servant in this house with men. Because Vivian had strictly avoided men for years, every last worker on the estate had been female up until now. That was exactly why she had taken it upon herself to personally wipe down my body earlier. Oh, sir, you're finally awake. Who are you? I groaned. I'm the new servant assigned to look after you, sir. Where exactly am I? To answer your question, sir, you are currently at the West Coast Estates. The West Coast Estates? You mean that insanely expensive French-style villa district in East City? How in the world did I even end up here? Assistant Chloe accidentally hit you with the car last night, do you remember? Before I could even try to piece the memories back together, a sharp, throbbing pain suddenly shot right through the back of my skull. You accidentally hit your head pretty hard when you fell. Luckily, the wound isn't too deep at all. The doctor has already bandaged it all up for you. I sat there pondering for a brief moment before the entire messed-up chain of events came rushing right back to me. But just as I stubbornly attempted to get out of bed, the servant hurriedly stepped forward to stop me. Surely you haven't forgotten who our boss actually is, have you? I honestly have zero recollection. Right after getting slammed by that car, I completely blacked out. As for who actually saved me, I didn't even get a chance to see her face. Where is your boss anyway? She went to go take a hot shower. She got caught out in the freezing rain while bringing you back here today. Looking down, I suddenly noticed that at some point, I had been changed into a plush bathrobe. What on earth is going on here? Sir, you were completely drenched by the rain. It was an absolute emergency, and to prevent you from catching a terrible cold, we specifically put you in a warm bathrobe. Wait, hold on a second. How exactly did I get changed into this? Did you change me? Sir, are you experiencing any other discomfort? The servant asked softly. No. Nothing, I mumbled, still disoriented. Wait, by the way, where are my clothes? They've already been washed and placed in the drying room. Please wait just a moment, sir. I'll go fetch them right away. The servant bowed deeply with utmost respect, then quietly stepped out of the room. I took a moment to survey my surroundings. The entire room was dripping with exquisite, jaw-dropping luxury, and even the servant's behavior showed totally impeccable manners. Honestly, this alone made it painfully obvious that the owner of this sprawling estate held an extremely prestigious, almost untouchable status, even though the person who had ruthlessly hit me with that car wasn't actually Mina Collins. Those 8 long years of deep affection had long since grown into a towering tree right inside my heart. Now that it had been so violently uprooted, the sheer, blinding pain made my every single breath tremble. Sir, here are your clothes. They're still a little damp. Do you still wish to put them on right now? I gave a brief, tired grunt. Yeah, you can leave now. I'll handle the rest myself. I had literally just untied my towel when I suddenly heard a low, seductive voice cut through the silence. The bedroom door was pushed wide open. I heard you're awake. A slender, stunning figure casually strolled right inside. Never in a million years did I expect anyone to walk in at this exact, totally compromising moment. You? What the hell are you doing here? The woman curled her crimson lips into a smirk and said, "This happens to be my house." What? I froze in absolute mind-numbing shock for a good few seconds. Get out, I snapped. The woman just let out a soft, amused chuckle. Is that really the way to kick the homeowner out of her very own room? Besides, it's not like there's anything worth looking at anyway. What's the big deal? Wait, what does she mean? Nothing worth looking at. Damn it, didn't your parents ever teach you basic manners? You don't even knock before entering a room. Why on earth would I knock before entering my own bedroom? I was completely and utterly dumbfounded. This is your bedroom? The clothes you're holding aren't even dry yet, she pointed out. If you don't want your nasty cold getting any worse, you better take them off right now. Honestly, I bring you clean clothes only to get yelled at. What is this crazy world coming to? I shook my head slightly, confused. Wait, I have a cold? No wonder my heavy head felt so incredibly groggy. So, you're the one who actually saved me? My aggressive tone earlier had indeed been pretty terrible. Regardless, thank you so much for saving my life. It's getting pretty late, so I'll be taking my leave now. Leave? She scoffed. Where exactly do you think you can go? I've already had everything thoroughly looked into. What tragically transpired at the Sky Garden. I am fully aware of it. I can just stay at a random hotel for now. It's already this late anyway. If you walk out of my private estate completely alone, outsiders who don't know the truth will just think I coldly kicked you out. Wouldn't that completely ruin my flawless reputation? I couldn't help but think to myself, she is actively being hunted down by two vicious crime syndicates. What kind of good reputation could she possibly have left? But, deep down, I could hear in her voice that she genuinely wanted me to stay here until my wounds fully healed. Besides, you saved my life before, so consider this massive favor completely returned. Just stay right here until you find a permanent place to live, Vivian playfully added, as a total afterthought. And hey, don't worry, I have absolutely no interest in scrawny guys. A scrawny guy? She actually dared to call me a scrawny guy? Does your head still hurt? She asked. It doesn't, I lied. Then get some rest first. I'll go check if dinner is ready. As she left, I looked down at the brand new change of clothes resting in my hands. This exact size and style. Could they have been bought specifically for me? At that foolish thought, I immediately shook my head. No way. There must be men staying over here all the time, which is exactly why they stock fancy clothes in every possible size. I was just planning to finally take a hot shower when I noticed my deathly pale, broken reflection staring back in the mirror. Honestly, who could possibly love someone looking like this? It's only natural that Nina Collins completely fell out of love with me. But the very moment I thought of Nina, my battered heart throbbed with a deeply excruciating pain. Our 8 long years of love had transformed into a sharp, icy blade, ruthlessly plunging right into my chest when I least expected it. I don't even know how much time passed before Vivian suddenly tapped on the bedroom door. Come down to eat. Don't tell me you actually fell asleep in there. Pushing open the heavy door, a warm yellow light shone brightly from the bathroom. Thick, misty steam steadily leaked out from the narrow crack in the door. Vivian Vance was just about to leave when she suddenly heard a loud alarm go off inside the bathroom. In a heartbeat, Vivian realized something was horribly wrong. She frantically twisted the doorknob, only to find the damn door locked from the inside. Ethan! Ethan, can you hear me? Open the door right now! As a dense cloud of hot steam billowed out, there I lay, completely collapsed on the cold tile floor. Vivian immediately rushed in and pulled me up. Ethan, wake up! Doctor, ma'am, you called for me? The doctor gasped, rushing in. Rebandage his wound right now. Yes, right away, ma'am. I'll change the dressing right away. Vivian sighed heavily. You clumsy man, passing out just from taking a simple shower. The exact moment I look away, you completely fall apart. Ma'am, the severe wound infection triggered a dangerously high fever. I'm afraid the gentleman, do whatever it takes, but you absolutely must break his fever. Make damn sure he's going to be okay. Yes, ma'am. I don't know how much agonizing time passed before I finally groggily opened my heavy eyes. The air in the room felt so incredibly stifling. You're finally awake? Do you feel sick anywhere? I nodded, then shook my head in a daze. Are you? Nina? I mumbled, blinking hard, desperately trying to focus on the woman standing right in front of me. I strained to prop my heavy body up. Does your head still hurt? She asked softly. I nodded, but suddenly froze as my eyes locked onto the blurry, unfamiliar figure before me. What's wrong? Are you in a lot of pain? I'll have Dr. Evans come in to check on you. The words barely registered. You cheater, I spat out. How could you do that to me? Out of every single guy you could love, why in the world did it have to be my own younger brother? You two even have a kid together already. Hearing this, Vivian's delicate brows furrowed in utter confusion. Could it be that Ethan is mistaking me for Nina Collins? She murmured to herself. She's just one woman. There are plenty of other girls out there, she tried to soothe me. It's not the same, I yelled. My Nina was different from everyone else. She sighed. You said you were in pain. Let me have the doctor check you over. It's useless, I cried, pounding my chest. It hurts right here, right here. Why don't you love me anymore? Tell me what I did wrong. Just say it. I can change it all. Driven by the agonizing heartbreak, in the next split second, I threw my arms around Vivian and desperately kissed her. Vivian felt her entire body flush with sudden heat, her breath catching as even her gaze began to lose focus. Ethan will be mine sooner or later, she thought, but not like this. Right now, Ethan doesn't even know who I am. Early the next morning, my eyes snapped open, only to find the massive bedroom completely empty. I vaguely recalled passing out in the bathroom last night for some stupid reason, with absolutely zero memory of what happened next. Ugh, my aching head. Just then, a maid cleaning the living room spotted me walking downstairs. Mr. Grayson, you're awake. I'll take you down to the first floor to have some hot breakfast right away. No, thank you, I replied. Where is your lady? The maid smiled warmly. Our lady left early this morning for an interview. An interview? Just as I was puzzling over that, a massive financial feature suddenly flashed onto the giant TV screen. A female corporate CEO, the unmarried heiress who topped the billionaire list for 6 consecutive years? Yes, that is exactly our lady, the maid chimed in proudly. No wonder her name had always sounded so familiar to me. So, she's the legendary CEO of the Aurora Group. I had privately imagined a ton of crazy possibilities for her identity, but I never in a million years expected it to be this insane. Our lady is incredible, isn't she? The maid added. If you were to end up with our lady, Mr. Grayson, the two of you would definitely have the most beautiful babies in the world. Babies? I coughed, quickly changing the awkward subject. Do you happen to know where my phone went? Your phone got completely soaked by the rain yesterday, Mr. Grayson. After we had it repaired, it was placed right back in the bedroom you just came out of. Thank you. I rushed back into the bedroom. Sure enough, after powering it on, the signal popped up with full bars. However, my heart sank. Aside from spam weather alerts, not a single family member had sent a text or called to check on my whereabouts. I ran out into the freezing, pouring rain yesterday like a madman. Did not a single person in that house care whether I lived or died? I stared blankly at the screen for several long minutes, a bitter, self-deprecating smile creeping onto my lips. God, how could I have been so incredibly foolish? I dialed a deeply familiar number. Luke, it's me. Ethan, you absolute punk. You finally called me. Where the hell have you been all this time? I haven't heard a single word from you. I sighed. Well, aren't I calling to check in with you right now? Suddenly calling me from a domestic number. You didn't even bother telling me you went back to the country, just ditching me all alone in the States. You have absolutely zero conscience, man. Look, I only came back because some highly urgent family business came up. Anyway, let's get down to business. Have you ever heard of Vivian Vance? Luke gasped. You mean the female CEO of the Aurora Group? Vivian Vance? Of course I do. She's the #1 unmarried bachelorette in the entire country. The ultimate dream woman of countless men. Why do you ask? Do you owe her a ton of money, or, wait, are you trying to become her boy toy? What on earth are you even talking about? I really had to admire my best friend's wildly overactive imagination. I'm literally at her house right now. Holy what? Ethan, look man, I'm not trying to lecture you here, but how could you step out on Nina Collins with another woman? Even if Vivian Vance is drop-dead gorgeous, you still absolutely shouldn't cheat. What kind of crazy nonsense are you cooking up in that head of yours? I rubbed my temples. A hell of a lot has happened over the past couple of days. I know that if I tell you right now, you definitely won't believe me. Nina hooked up with my brother Aaron a long, long time ago. She was sleeping with Aaron the entire time she was staying in touch with me. And get this. Now she's even pregnant with his child. What the hell? Nina Collins actually dared to pull off something like that, Luke shouted. I only found out the brutal truth yesterday myself, I said bitterly. Yesterday was her birthday, but I never in a million years expected she would use it to get engaged to my own brother. Oh, and did you know? Yesterday was also the 3rd anniversary of the Rockwood Group's big merger. What merger? Exactly. They've been merged for 3 years, and I only found out yesterday. Pretty pathetic, right? Even the massive inheritance under my own name has been completely compromised and stolen right out from under me. Aaron is now sitting as the chairman of the conglomerate. Even my two-faced stepmother has become a board director, too. What in the world is going on over there? I distinctly remember your grandpa's will didn't leave those vultures a single thing. Exactly. Their dirty intentions are crystal clear now. On one hand, they wormed their filthy way into the conglomerate early to build deep connections with the internal staff, all while waiting like vultures to steal a piece of the pie once my dad inherits everything. I've got to hand it to them. Their sick little scheme is playing out absolutely perfectly. That's complete garbage. Are you kidding me? This is absolutely outrageous. They are walking all over you. Just wait. I am booking a flight back right now to handle this mess for you. Whoa, hold on, man. My life is chaotic enough already. The only reason I called is to get your advice on my next move. What else is there to do? Obviously, you take back your inheritance first. I paused, letting out a heavy sigh. You just don't get it. To inherit the estate, there are two brutal conditions. Between my dad and me, whoever pulls them off first earns the right to inherit everything. What are the conditions? He laughed. First, both parties have to perfectly replicate the exact scent of the Rockwood Group's latest unreleased formula, QV13. What on earth is QV13? It was the absolute last perfume formula Grandpa developed right before he passed away. It hasn't even hit the market yet. 3 years ago, my so-called dad shipped me overseas to master perfumery skills. Your dad is a devious, manipulating piece of work. Like he would ever just hand the empire over to you. He claimed that no matter who officially wins the inheritance, the assets should be shared out of family loyalty. By splitting them up, I let out a dejected grunt, agreeing with how insane that sounded. I originally believed his lies, too. But I never expected that coming back after 3 long years, my home would be a completely different battlefield. So, that QV13 formula, did you crack it over the last 3 years? No. The process for this perfume is mind-bogglingly complex. Even though I've had a god-tier sense of smell since I was a kid, when it comes to this specific perfume, I am completely bested. I can barely identify 1 or 2 notes. Plus, the mixing process is a desperate race against the clock. Even the slightest mistake, and the entire scent profile is completely ruined. Man, what are you going to do? The very first condition is literally impossible. You spent 3 years on it and still have 0 clues. Honestly, you might not stand a chance in this lifetime. You mentioned earlier there are 2 conditions to inherit the estate. What's the second one? The heir must build a happy, harmonious family. What? The bar is that high? Your grandpa might as well have just explicitly told you to screw off and disqualified you himself. Luke felt like my grandfather was intentionally setting me up to fail. But your grandpa adored you back then. How could he possibly set such an impossibly high inheritance bar? What exactly was his endgame? Actually, it's not all that surprising. He just wanted me to crush my studies and find a genuinely happy, fulfilling marriage. I think he dangled the inheritance to motivate me, hoping I'd actually make something of myself in the future. Hoping you'd make something of yourself. Luke nodded slowly. Yeah, makes sense. What you're saying does make some sense. But dread was gnawing at me. Dad has already met the second inheritance condition. He's got a family, so now he's only missing the first condition. If he figures out the QV13 formula before I do, the Rockwood Group and tens of billions in assets are gone. That's my grandfather's life's work. If all that ends up in the grubby hands of Eleanor and Aaron in the future, Grandpa will definitely never rest in peace. So, what's the game plan? I replied, my voice dropping an octave. Dad has been secretly running the conglomerate for the past 3 years, and no one knows. On paper, my father and I hold the exact same position as acting CEO of the conglomerate, but I'm terrified the employees have long since accepted him as the true corporate CEO. To stop me from coming back and taking what's mine, Eleanor has probably planted her own snakes inside the company without anyone knowing. I might get thrown out before I even warm up the acting CEO's chair. What about the will? Shove it in their faces. Would that even work? I left the will at home 3 years ago. I didn't bring it with me abroad. What? Am I supposed to just waltz back into the lion's den and grab it now? Hell yes. You absolutely have to go back and get it. Based on what you told me, the Rockwood Group is your grandfather's entire legacy. No matter what, you have to take it back. If it falls into the hands of outsiders, your grandfather is definitely going to roll in his grave. He was right. This empire belongs to me. How could I just roll over and hand it to someone else? In the past, I would have happily given the inheritance to my father without holding anything back. But now, the game has completely changed. He is no longer the loving dad who used to dote on me back then. Actually, he was never a good guy to begin with. I was just too blind to realize it until now. Now that I'm finally back on home turf, I absolutely cannot let anyone see me bleed. Mr. Grayson, are you leaving? The madam explicitly ordered that until you are fully recovered, you aren't allowed to go anywhere. I'm just going out to get some fresh air, I snapped back. Besides, since when does she have the right to hold me hostage? If you just walk out, how am I supposed to explain this to Our Lady? Look, how about this? Let me call and report to her first, just so she doesn't put the blame on us. If we mess up our duties, our lives are going to be a living hell from here on out. You make your boss sound like some kind of absolute monster. Come on. Is she really that terrifying? The servant nodded, trembling slightly. She's way worse than any monster, Mr. Grayson. What you see is only her gentle, patient side. When she actually loses her temper, the entirety of East City trembles in fear. Well, since she's that terrifying, I'll just speak to her myself. Don't sweat it. You won't be held responsible. Jogging down the street, I was just about to give Vivian Vance a ring when my phone suddenly vibrated in my hand. An unknown number flashed across the screen. 99% of the time, I'd completely ignore it. But right then, I had this gut feeling that the person on the other end was Vivian. Hello? Who is this? Do you still remember me? It's Tiffany Hudson. Why is it you? Aha. Looks like you actually do remember me. I definitely left a lasting impression on you, didn't I? But seriously, what the heck? You came back to the country and didn't even bother to tell me? Didn't you want me to pick you up at the airport? Listen closely. I only need you to do one thing for me. Stay the hell away from me. The further, the better. Sean must have leaked the news of my return. Otherwise, there is absolutely no way she would have tracked me down this fast. Just as I angrily slammed the phone shut, a flashy sports car screeched to a dead halt right in front of my face. Ethan! Long time no see. Aw, Ethan. Why do you look so completely drained? Did something terrible happen to you? None of your damn business. I immediately pivoted and took a different path, desperate to avoid her entirely. How in the world did she even know I was here? Did that phone call from earlier have some kind of psycho tracking feature? Ever since our college days, this woman has clung to me like a parasite, flat out refusing to let go. No matter what I tried, I could never shake her off my back. I finally managed to escape abroad, enjoying 3 glorious years of absolute peace and quiet. I honestly never expected to be hounded by her again the exact second my feet touched back down in this city. This boy-crazy lunatic was aggressively chasing me down, all while happily accepting the advances of countless other guys. Her romantic life was an absolute, reckless disaster. How could I ever possibly fall for a toxic woman like her? Where are you going? Ethan, come on, let's go together. If only this gorgeous man belonged to me. Oh, how incredibly wonderful that would be. Ethan, where are you heading off to? Just let me give you a ride. I threw a cold glance her way. She was still completely full of superficial schemes, lacking absolutely any kind of verbal filter. And God, even her fashion taste was just as insanely bizarre as it always was. Miss Hudson, have you seriously failed to hook a single other guy after all these years? Or has your so-called charm faded so much that dudes aren't lining up around the block for you anymore? Are you really so desperate and lonely that you sprinted over here just to hunt me down? Ha ha, I am never lonely, babe. Besides, I've honestly grown totally bored of all those other basic guys. You are the absolute only one who stays on my mind. Ethan, please don't tell me. You are still hung up on Nina Collins after all this time. I heard she totally cheated on you. And get this. The guy she's sleeping with is your own brother. What the hell does that matter to you? Of course it matters to me, silly. Your business is my business, babe. Get in the car. I will personally drive you to go get some brutal payback on those trashy little cheaters. Move. Stop blocking my path. Wow. This is literally the very first time I have ever heard a man complain about me blocking his way. Ethan Grayson, do you have any idea that my mere presence on this road is an absolute privilege for this entire street. Tiffany Hudson, can you please try to have even a single shred of self-respect? Oh, that is an excellent question. My dignity? Honey, I totally threw that out the window the very second I started chasing after you. Ethan, you are always so uniquely bold. You say all the harsh things that other people wouldn't even dare to whisper. Gosh, I just absolutely love that about you. Ignoring her nonsense, I hailed a passing taxi and jumped right in. Driver, take me to Rockwood Villa. Please. Why pass up a perfectly good, flashy sports car just to take a beat-up cab? Tiffany Hudson truly could not wrap her dense head around why I loathed her so intensely. There were countless rich men out there utterly desperate to crawl into her bed. Yet I remained the single, stubborn exception. But sick as it was, the more I acted like this, the more utterly intrigued she became. Oh, Ethan, your taste is just getting worse and worse by the minute. Riding in a total piece of trash car like this, aren't you basically gambling with your own life right now? If something terrible happens to you, who am I supposed to marry? Who the hell ever said I was going to marry you? Besides, have you been staying abroad for way too long or something? Can you literally not read basic road signs? Do you even realize you're driving on the complete wrong side of the road? And yet, you still have the sheer nerve to claim that I'm the one playing with my life? Do you even care about your own safety? Aw, Ethan. Just admit it. You're secretly worried about me, aren't you? Listen, unless you finally accept my feelings, I am going to follow you straight to the very end of the line. If a tragic accident happens right now, you'll just have to take care of me for the rest of your life. You absolute psychopath. I didn't want to waste another breath on her delusion. Driver, please just overtake her. Sir? The speed limit on this road is 40, and I'm already going 39. The nervous cab driver threw a quick glance at Tiffany out the window and shuddered visibly. Besides, who in their right mind would actually dare to pass Miss Hudson's car? That was nothing short of a literal death wish. Ha ha. See? At least your driver knows his place. I was absolutely sick to my stomach watching her flaunt herself like this. Acting like her family's money made her invincible. She paraded around completely above the law, treating traffic lights like they were just suggestions. She just did whatever the hell she wanted, didn't she? It was like her family personally owned the damn streets. A group of guys on a passing public bus suddenly spotted her. There she was, Tiffany, revving the engine of her flashy sports car. Holy crap, that driver is totally drop-dead gorgeous. Wait, is that actually Miss Hudson? She looks way hotter in person than in those magazines. Eating up all the wild attention and compliments from the crowd, Tiffany kissed her fingertips and blew a dramatic kiss right at them. The guys on the bus completely lost their minds, cheering like crazy. Drivers in the surrounding cars actually bailed, completely ditching their rides right there on the street. They swarmed around her like a pack of wolves. Within minutes, the entire road was paralyzed in a massive traffic jam. The gridlock on the side of the road was only getting worse and worse by the second. Blaring horns echoed relentlessly over the screaming pedestrians. The whole scene turned into an absolute madhouse, all fueled by Tiffany Hudson's ridiculously dramatic blown kisses. Trapped dead in the center of this mob, I couldn't move an inch in any direction. I was forced to watch this utter circus spiral completely out of control. The burning rage inside my chest was ready to boil over. I had one mission: take back the Rockwood Group and make the traitors who ruined my life pay in blood. I didn't come here to play games with Tiffany and her fan club, standing on the street with a furious scowl permanently plastered on my face. Shoving my way violently through the crowd, I snapped, "Tiffany, get the hell out of my way right now. Do not mess with my plans." But Tiffany didn't back down for a single second. Listen up, everyone. This is the man I've been madly in love with for years. Ethan Grayson. Please take good care of him for me from now on. The second those words left her mouth, the mob whipped out their phones and started snapping photos of us like absolute maniacs. I violently slapped her hand away, my voice dropping to a terrifying, icy darkness. I have absolutely nothing to do with you. Keep hounding me like this, and don't blame me when things get ugly. She stumbled a step back from my harsh shove, looking hurt. Ethan, I just want to help you. After the way Nina Collins and Aaron Grayson treated you, I'm the only one in this world who truly cares about you. I don't need your damn charity. All I cared about was getting to Rockwood Villa to retrieve that will. I absolutely refused to let Arthur Grayson sit on my throne for another second. Just then, a pair of blinding headlights sliced through the mob, stopping smoothly right at my feet. The rowdy crowd around us instinctively choked on their words, falling dead silent. The sleek, tinted window slowly rolled down. "Get in." She dropped those two words like absolute law. Her tone was ice cold, leaving zero room for argument. Without a single second of hesitation, I yanked the door open and slid inside. The split second the door slammed shut, the deafening chaos outside was completely erased. The inside of the car was pristine and deadly quiet. A faint, elegant perfume instantly washed away the burning anxiety in my chest. Seeing me escape, Tiffany lunged at the window like a lunatic. "Who the hell are you? What gives you the right to take Ethan away? Let me tell you something. I am the heiress of the Hudson family. Don't you dare try to steal my man." "Drive," I said. "Drive." We surged forward, leaving Tiffany's hysterical screaming and that entire mob completely in the dust. Leaning back against the plush leather, my tense muscles finally loosened up. I rubbed my throbbing temples as she spoke. "Are you in a rush? I have to get back to Rockwood Villa. Grandpa's will is hidden there. Retrieving it is my only shot to rightfully reclaim the Rockwood Group and expose Arthur and his pathetic accomplices." She didn't miss a beat. "I'm coming with you. I have the full security layout of Rockwood Villa, Arthur's exact schedule, and the complete guard rotation for the estate. I already had Chloe dig up every single detail." I stared at her. "You did all that? You saved my life once, Ethan, and I, Vivian Vance, never leave a debt unpaid. Besides, I'm not the kind of woman who stands by and ignores your battles. If you want to tear them down, I'll hand you the leverage. If you want to take back everything they stole from you, the Aurora Group will be your unbreakable shield." In just a few short days, this incredible woman had pulled me from a fatal car wreck in the pouring rain, hid me away safely at the West Coast estates, so my brutal wounds could heal, and quietly tracked down every single move my enemies made, and she never asked for a damn thing in return. Meanwhile, my own flesh and blood, the people I trusted most, declared me dead the very day I returned to the country. They embezzled my inheritance and completely betrayed my trust. I just stared at the breathtaking woman sitting across from me, a fierce elite standing at the absolute pinnacle of E-City, and spoke from the bottom of my heart. "Vivian, thank you. Once I crush them and settle this score, I swear I'll find a way to repay you." She looked me dead in the eye. "I don't want your repayment. I just want you to win." Before long, the car pulled up to the gates of Rockwood Villa. The home where I grew up now felt like a freezing, hostile cage. The guard at the gate instantly turned white as a sheet the second he saw my face. "T!" The master gave strict orders. "You are absolutely not allowed inside." I'm stepping back into my own damn house. "Do I really need a permission slip from you?" My voice was pure ice as I shoved right past him. Too scared to physically stop me, the rent-a-cop just scrambled for his phone to call it in. The second I walked into that living room, the sounds of Arthur Grayson, Eleanor, Aaron Grayson, and my precious fiancée, Nina Collins, hit me like a sick joke. They were all kicking back on the couch, laughing it up over their new empire and the upcoming wedding details. Hearing my footsteps, they whipped their heads around at the exact same time. The second they actually saw me, their smug smiles froze dead on their faces. "Ethan, how the hell are you here? Are the security guards out there completely useless? Who gave you the right to just barge in here?" "Security. Throw him out, right now." Aaron instinctively wrapped his arm around a ghost-white Nina, absolute panic flashing in his eyes. "Ethan, bro, it's honestly so great that you're back. We were losing our minds while you were missing. We were all so incredibly worried about you," I scoffed. "Worried about me? Or worried I might still be breathing? Worried I'd finally put a stop to you bleeding my family's legacy dry? Worried I'd crash your perfect, glamorous little wedding? Worried I'd stop you from stealing the Rockwood Group right out from under me? Is that it?" Nina stammered. "Ethan, I messed up. But Aaron and I, it's true love. We didn't tell you because we didn't want to stress you out while you were overseas. Can't you please just find it in your heart to forgive me?" "Forgive you?" I laughed, completely disgusted. "You trashed 8 years of my life, secretly slept with my brother, got knocked up, and literally watched as they pronounced me dead. Do you honestly think you deserve even an ounce of forgiveness?" Arthur snapped. "Shut your mouth, boy. The Rockwood Group belongs to Aaron and me now. You have zero claim here. Your grandfather's will expired a long, long time ago. Expired? I sneered. Chloe stepped up right on cue, slamming a thick stack of legal documents onto the table. Arthur Grayson, you illegally forged that will, embezzled billions in corporate funds, and teamed up with rival companies to force out loyal employees. The Aurora Group has already secured rock-solid proof of every single crime. Oh, and about that QV13 perfume formula Grandpa left behind? Yeah, I've already flawlessly recreated it. Combine that with the stipulation that I am single and fully ready to start a family. I perfectly hit every single requirement for the inheritance. I threw the original will and the official perfumery certification right in their faces. Arthur Grayson turned the color of ash, his knees giving out as he collapsed hard onto the sofa. Eleanor was shaking like a leaf, completely stripped of that high and mighty attitude she loved so much. Aaron's eyes darted around the room like a cornered rat, too terrified to even look at me. Nina totally snapped, crumbling to the floor in a puddle of pathetic, hysterical tears. Right on cue, the piercing wail of police sirens cut through the air outside. Vivian Vance crossed her arms, her voice dangerously calm. Corporate embezzlement, massive commercial fraud, and forging legal documents. The cops are here to collect, guys. A squad of heavily armed officers flooded into the living room. They flashed the arrest warrants in their stunned faces, instantly slapping cuffs on Arthur and Eleanor and dragging Aaron away. Aaron was dragged away right alongside them for his active role in the conspiracy. Nina Collins was hauled off too, crying as they took her in for the investigation. All she had left to look forward to was a jail cell and the absolute disgust of the entire world. The bad guys finally got exactly what was coming to them. They had tried every dirty trick in the book, fighting tooth and nail to strip away everything that was rightfully mine, only to end up trading their tailored suits for handcuffs and iron bars. Standing all alone in that massive, quiet living room, I let out a breath I felt like I'd been holding forever. The crushing weight that had been suffocating me for 3 long years was finally, truly gone. Vivian walked up beside me and gently slid her hand into mine. Looking down into the soft warmth of her eyes, every last bit of my anxiety just melted away. The golden hour sun poured through the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, bathing her in this incredible light, making her look so breathtakingly gorgeous, I honestly couldn't look away if I tried. From our crazy, near-death meeting during that plane crash, to her literally risking her life in the storm for me, to standing by my side while I took back my empire, this woman had entirely stolen my heart. Vivian, you've spent this whole time putting yourself on the line to protect me. From now on, it's my turn to protect you. I'm going to rebuild the Rockwood Group and make Grandpa proud. But above all of that, the greatest mission of my life is just getting to be by your side. A sweet, knowing smile danced in her eyes as she stood on her tiptoes and softly pressed her lips against mine. There was no rush, no drama, just pure, undeniable joy and the absolute certainty that we had made it. A few weeks later, I officially took the throne at the Rockwood Group, completely gutting their toxic operations, bringing back our loyal veterans, and turning our massive comeback into the greatest revenge story the East City business world had ever seen. And Vivian and I, we threw a jaw-dropping, over-the-top wedding that absolutely left the entire capital completely speechless. Married life with Vivian, it's been an absolute dream. I'm no longer that broken, penniless underdog stabbed in the back by family and romance. To the rest of the world, Vivian is still that untouchable, powerhouse heiress ruling the city's elite, but she saves all her warmth and tenderness strictly for me. Seeing that my heart was already locked down, and my life was picture perfect, Tiffany Hudson finally took the hint, gave up all hope, and stopped stalking me. And as for those backstabbing scumbags, Arthur Grayson, Eleanor, and Aaron Grayson are spending the rest of their miserable lives rotting behind bars, paying the ultimate price for their toxic greed and betrayal. Then there's Nina Collins. With her reputation totally burned to the ground and nobody left to write her a check, she's barely scraping by at the absolute rock bottom of society, never tasting a single drop of her former glory ever again. Meanwhile, the bright, warm sunshine washes over Vivian and me as we lean into each other. Looking back, I finally get it. That plane crash was a total disaster, sure, but it was also the greatest blessing in disguise. It violently ripped me away from toxic, two-faced snakes and led me straight to the one woman genuinely worth treasuring. Karma really doesn't miss. The good guys eventually get their reward, while the wicked just dig their own graves. As for Vivian and me, walking hand in hand, side by side. It's honestly the absolute most perfect happily ever after I could have ever asked for.